Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Yes, it is, dude.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with Dustin Fox.
Oh, good to have you, everybody. You came at a great time.
Man, that light and camera came on at just the right time.
Just the right time, baby.
We've got Anthony, Mike, and Steve on the other side of the glass, and a lot to get to today. Jason was with me at the swim meet over the weekend where I almost got into a fight.
I missed that. I came late.
Yeah, and I'm exaggerating, but some guy accused me. I mentioned this yesterday. I'll mention it real briefly again. I was sitting in a seat. I got up for 2 minutes to watch my son swim in his event. And when I got back, I said, oh, that's somebody taking my seat. I was like, I was sitting there. So the guy gets up, and then he kind of mumbles, you weren't sitting there. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Your wallet and keys were there.
My wallet and keys were there. My son's clothes were there.
Yeah.
Then yesterday, at the supermarket at Heinen's in Rocky River, where I'm a regular, I was accused of cutting somebody on the line.
Well, stop cutting people on the line.
I never cut, ever. I would never cut the line. I don't believe in that.
They accused you of cutting. And,
Yes.
And I'm sure that went over real well with you.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was with my wife, and she got upset that I got so pissed off about it. But I don't like being accused of things that I didn't do, and I never cut anybody on the line, ever. I don't believe in
This is
that.
by another consumer?
So it wasn't even. So here's what happened. There's two lines, right? And in between. So I'm on one line. These other people are on over here, and then in between us, another woman opened another line. So she's like, I could help whoever's next or whatever.
I've been in this position many
So
times.
I go to get in there, and I'm second one to jump into that new line. And like 30 seconds later, this guy is behind me. He goes, excuse me, you just cut this woman off. I'm like, cut her off? It's a new line. The guy just opened this line. He's like, no, she was in this line.
It's like a sign.
So I moved that. I didn't want to argue with the guy.
Let it go.
I did let it go, and I was like, okay, fine. I said, but for the record, I didn't cut her, but I let her go. But I was pissed.
Had to have last word.
Always
Always have last.
Hey,
Yeah.
Listen.
Since you mentioned the swim meet, I'll say
Yeah.
this real quick.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's somebody that tracks this stuff, which is wild to me.
Yeah.
My son AJ in the 50 free broke the record for 14U.
Oh, really?
On 50 frees at that event,
Yeah.
at that meet. I didn't see you afterwards to tell you.
Yeah.
It was part of the relay, but apparently it still counts. Or I don't know.
Yeah, I saw in the results that they were keeping individual times.
Yeah, and he actually broke the record of Joe Swain, the big-time swimmer from Avon Lake, who went to state, finished like third or fourth in the state. The son of Bart Swain, Guardians PR legend.
Yeah.
So I got to tell Bart the other day, I'm like, hey, I got bad news for you. My kid beat your kid.
Is he going up on? I noticed that board with the records there.
No, I don't think so. This is just like the club. He'll swim.
Oh, it's just for the 14 and under.
Yeah, he'll swim varsity in the winter for Avon Lake.
Well, you and I were talking, and you said you thought he's better at swimming than any of his other sports.
I think he is. I think he's better at swimming than he is football.
It's fun, and the kids that swim, it's a good bunch of kids.
Yeah, it is.
And it was a fun event. I ended up, I had to disappear because I was volunteering.
I was like sitting there waiting for you. You never came back. I'm like, well, it must be me. I guess I'll go up and sit with my wife.
Well, yeah, because what happened was I went out to get something to drink, and then
he's like a dad, left for smokes and milk and never came back.
Yeah, Aaron calls me and he goes, Dad, you're supposed to be volunteering. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. So then I just went over to where it was, and I didn't get a chance to. Well, I did see it for a second when Aaron swam.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a good event. Anyway, I love it. I love the swimming. It's so great for the kids to stay in shape.
Yes.
And I'm so paranoid about Aaron being heavy because I don't want him to go through what I go through, and I don't want him to be fat, and so I love it.
Yeah.
But AJ, Jason's son, man, he walks around the swim meet like he's the brightest peacock in the room, man.
He's peacocking?
He is working it.
Nobody loves AJ more than AJ.
It's so funny.
I think I told the story. I don't know if I told it or not.
Yeah.
We had a party at the baseball team party at one of the houses.
Yeah.
and the barn door fell off in the basement, and AJ was rehanging the barn door, and the head coach came upstairs, and all the dads are sitting around, and he goes, AJ's in the basement with the shirt off, rehanging the barn door, and the homeowner's like, oh my God, they knocked off the barn door. And I said, I understand why you're concerned about the barn door. I'm more concerned with why my son felt the need to take off his shirt before rehanging.
He's trying to show up for the ladies.
Yeah, he's like Myles Garrett and Njoku, man.
Yeah,
those guys love mirrors.
Well, that's my son. He loves working out. He loves showing what he's got. It's really funny.
Yeah.
He's at two-a-days now. First day hitting.
There you go, man.
First day hitting.
It all
pads
starts.
On. Yep.
I can't believe it starts this early.
Oh, they've been going for a month.
They're doing 2 days?
2 days. Starts today.
So what are the rules on like the high school 2 days now?
Well, he had to be at the high school at 6:45 this morning, and I think they break for lunch around 10, and he's done at 1. So it's
that's not a long day. I mean, I felt like when we were doing it, we would do. I mean, I guess maybe we got there a little later, but we would have practice in the morning. Would be like 2.5 hour practice, and then we'd take a break for lunch. This was the worst part about this whole thing. I wonder if it's different now. Maybe it's not. But it's like you kept your pants on, the sweaty pants on through lunch.
Yeah.
And you get your cooler, and you'd have your lunch, and then basically you put like your shoulder pads back on, which were sweaty as hell, gross, smell like crap. The locker room smells so bad. Oh my, it smelled so bad. It was like a hockey locker. And then you go back out, you do it again, and we're done at like 3. But man, you know what? I said this to somebody the other day. It's like, I don't know how these kids do it. Like, I don't know how I did it. Like, I think back to when I played football.
Yeah.
And going through training camp in 2 days and whatever, especially in high school and college. I mean, pros were hard, but like the high school, college, it really made me, I guess it toughened me up because I think back to it, I'm like, how the hell did I get through this? These kids are resilient.
Yeah, he was getting out of the car with his lunch bag at 6:45. I'm like, man, it's like you're working a blue-collar shift, taking your lunch bag. Yeah. He goes, it's no different than school. I'm like, I don't know. You ain't hitting your math teacher at 7:15 in the morning.
Right. I think it's great, though. I mean, my son's playing in 7th grade now.
Yeah.
And
when do they start?
They're in it now, dude, every day.
Oh, this weather, and it's been so muggy.
I thought middle school started in August.
Yeah, they've been practicing at night, and they get pads on Friday.
Wow. Damn.
Well, speaking of pads, and before we dive into our first topic, I just want to mention the Browns, who are practicing this morning, did live tackling for the first time during training camp in the Kevin Stefanski era this morning.
Yep.
Dustin, I know that's not necessarily as common now as it used to be, the live tackling in training camp, but does it show a change in mindset, for lack of a better word, in terms of how the Browns are handling this off-season program? With
honestly, Mikey, I think it's a good thing that they're doing it. Is it a change in mindset? Maybe. Whatever in the past they've done hasn't worked, right? I mean, they were not tough. They haven't had that culture of toughness and being a resilient bunch. Like, I'm not saying they were like soft, because there's tough guys on the team, but like a little tackling in training camp goes a long way towards physicality, a mindset, an identity, if you will, for a team. I think it's important. Like, I was in 3 different places. Now, again, this is 20 years ago, guys. I know that the game has changed, but like in Philadelphia, we tackled every day, at least a 20-minute period. And I'm not talking about like it was just the threes tackling or something. I mean, you know, I remember I tackled Brian Westbrook in a practice in the hole, like it was like no big deal. I mean, everybody was live outside the quarterbacks, of course, but I mean, it was in it. We were a tough team. We made the playoffs, and it was the only team I made the playoffs with. But like, I think you have to do a little bit of this, and I like that he hasn't done it in the past. And he's like, you know what? We went through training camp last year at a country club, essentially.
Yeah,
100%, and they came out basically like they went to training camp at a country club.
And it wasn't like they prevented injuries. They still had a ton of injuries. You know, so
you have to practice football in order to play football, and what they've done in the past is not football. In training camp, it's just not. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think they need to be out there hitting every day, but I think it's a welcome change. I don't know why it got so soft. Deshaun gets blamed for everything around here. I don't think you can blame him for that. I think it's Kevin's the head coach.
No, because he's been that way since he's been here.
Kevin's the head, but last year was even worse.
It was worse,
than usual, and I don't know the reasoning why behind that.
It's a trend in the NFL in general. I mean, a lot of teams don't hit much in training camp.
But they did nothing last year.
Yeah,
very,
it was
very
particularly
little.
bad.
Yeah.
You have to be careful. I mean, there is a delicate balance between, you know, killing your guys in practice and making them all, you know, you don't want guys to get hurt,
Sure.
But you also don't want guys to get into the season or in the preseason and games and these scrimmages, and they're not used to tackling. Like,
right. And then wouldn't you be more likely to get hurt early in the regular season if you're not used to any of the physical contact?
I just think that you have to practice what you're going to do. You know, like,
yeah,
you got to tackle people.
Yeah.
So if you don't tackle people in practice, you just can't be like, well, you know, these guys are grown men and they played in college and they played in high school. They've tackled their whole lives. Sure. Tennis reference. Novak Djokovic has hit a forehand his entire life. He still practices it every day.
Right.
I mean, you have to do what you're going to do on game day at least a little bit.
Yeah. Yesterday I mentioned, of course, my favorite player when I was a kid, Ryan Sandberg, who just passed away from
R.I.P.
cancer. I was listening to, I was kind of choked up because they had his longtime double play partner, Sean Dunston, who was the shortstop with him for, I want to say 8 years, maybe 9, 10. I don't remember exactly. And they were talking a lot of things. It was emotional. But one thing he said that everybody took from Rhino was that guy won Gold Glove after Gold Glove, and yet every single day during the season, he went out from the start of spring training to the end of the year. Every day he took infield practice at second base. Every day. Yeah. Never took a day off.
I love that.
Never took a day. It didn't matter that he was the best defensive player or one of the best.
Why do you think he was?
Day.
That's why.
That's right. Because so and think about it. If you're the Browns, the last time you played a game was January 10th, whatever it was. I mean, that's 8 months ago. So you haven't tackled anybody for 8 months. I don't care how many years you've done it. If you haven't tackled anybody for 8 months, and if you didn't tackle in the preseason like last year, as you said, and now all of a sudden the first time you're tackling is in the preseason, and for some guys who don't play in the preseason, like Myles Garrett,
and
he's going 9 months without tackling anybody.
And let me just say this from experience. Tackling another human being is not a natural movement. It's not a natural act. It's not something that it's not like riding a bike. I mean, you sort of know how to do it, but still, like, to actually go fit a hole and take on a running back or a fullback or a tight end and chip or whatever it may be, all that stuff's not natural. You've got to practice it, and you got to get into the mindset of, hey, man, there's going to be some conflict here. And you got to sort of get your body comfortable with that, you know, sort of being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of being uncomfortable, the Browns had an injury yesterday at training camp, and it was from a non-contact injury, and it's not good news. Before that, Mike's got something for us.
Yeah, it went from bad to worse this morning. We'll get to that after a reminder that today's episode of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. Yahoo Fantasy is back. Fantasy football drafts are getting ready to take off all across the month, and you better have your draft board ready for a crazy, fun-filled fantasy season with breakout stars, busts, and all the overreactions. We love in fantasy. It all goes down on the Yahoo Fantasy Football app. The UCSS Fantasy Football League is going back to Yahoo, and you guys should as well, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran. Yahoo is the #1 fantasy football app on the market. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 new features over the next 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. It all begins on August 4th. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That is yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet.
So, guys, Martin Emerson, and later, you know, Jason was at training camp the last couple of days. Mike was there yesterday. I know G and Tyvis were there. Yeah, a lot of the guys. So we'll talk more about some observations here. But one thing that did happen yesterday at practice, Martin Emerson, it gets officially announced today with what we all kind of feared after we heard the news about his non-contact injury, a torn Achilles. Obviously, guys, Emerson coming off not a particularly good year. You see what happened there. But he was still expected to be a starter. He had a good year 2 years ago. The hope was that he'd bounce back off the bad year last year. No matter how good you think he is, he was one of their 3 top corners, was expected to be a starter, and now he will miss the entire season. And not good. Not good at all.
Well, before we get into this, probably should mention DeJuan Jones was carted off today.
He was. Supposedly he was not in the back. Front. He was in the front. Everybody. Is that the thing, Dustin? When you're sitting in the front, it's usually not as bad? or not necessarily true?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that's necessarily true. I think it depends on the injury, I guess.
Do we know?
I don't. There's nothing we can speculate from where he sat on the card.
All right.
That way.
Anyway, so he did get carted off today, so we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, that's big too. But Emerson done for the year, Jason.
I mean, yeah, it's a blow. Obviously, it's devastating. You hate for that to happen to anyone.
Yeah.
Particularly someone who has shown. I mean, he didn't have a great year last year. We all know that, but he's shown some potential and promise to be that guy. So. They're going to have to recover from this. They're going to have to figure it out. I would imagine Greg Newsome goes back to the outside and Cam Mitchell goes to the slot. That's kind of
and Greg Newsome's obviously not happy that his temeate got hurt, but he's got to be thrilled that he gets to play the outside.
Out of the slot and go back to the out, especially if he's isn't he a free agent?
He is a free agent.
So this is a huge opportunity for Greg to go back to where he's most comfortable. And from the Browns' perspective, I'm kind of interested to see Cam Mitchell in the slot because – I mean, I just kind of assumed Greg Newsome was not going to be back on this team. Now maybe he goes and balls out this year. That changes.
Yeah.
But Mitchell's, I think, has 2 years left on his deal. And if he goes out and has a great year as a slot corner, he's got 1 year left on his deal. Maybe he can cash that into a new deal. So I'm really curious of all of this. I'm most interested, I think, in seeing because Cam had a pretty good rookie year a couple years ago, and seeing if he can duplicate that now or follow up on that with the expanded role.
I think it's a good point you bring up about Newsome and putting him on the outside. For some reason, you know, this league. I mean, it's harder to play nickel corner, than it is to play on the outside. Personally, so I play both, but the inside guys don't get paid like the outside guys, and
I think that's because the outside guys are defending usually the better receivers.
I understand it. I understand why they get paid.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. You know, it's a tough position to play inside. It's more. It's kind of more of a thankless job, and you don't make as much money. But it is you need to have somebody who can play inside and play it well. So I'm curious to see if that's the case. If they put Mitchell inside, they put Newsome back on the outside, and you know Newsome's going to have a big year. And you know what? It's on him. I mean. You want to make money in this league?
Yeah.
You got a ball.
There's a first-round pick. Let's go.
You are a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I think he's underperformed.
Yes.
For where he was drafted.
Agreed.
For a guy who has a lot of confidence and talks a big game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no doubt he talks a big game. So now it's time to put the big boy pants on, go back on the outside and play some damn good football. And you know Denzel's on the other side, so you're going to have some opportunities to make some plays.
And he's going to be tested. You know,
oh yeah,
they'll go
right away.
Yep.
Right away.
Especially, I mean, think about it. Week 1, you're facing. You know, they're going to put Denzel Ward on Chase every play because Denzel Ward plays Chase really
as well as anybody.
He's the only corner I've ever seen really play Chase well, by far. And you ask Chase,
and Chase will tell you,
Ward's the best corner he faces. So they're going to have Ward on Chase, I would think, most of the game. So you're dealing with T. Higgins, who's probably the best number 2 or one of the best number 2. I mean, he's a top 25 wide receiver, and he's big. And Greg Newsome's not. So that's going to be a challenge for him right off the bat. So he better be up for it.
You kind of bring up an interesting point, though, because the thing with Schwartz's defense in the past was Denzel has this side and Emerson has this side.
Yeah.
Right.
And they didn't really do a lot.
Not a lot, but they.
But with Greg now, do they?
I mean,
I don't know the answer. Obviously, I don't know.
I think Greg Newsome's going to have a tough enough time with T. Higgins. He's got no chance against Jamar Chase. So if I'm the Browns, I'm having Denzel.
I mean, you're also talking like these guys are playing, you know, man-to-man coverage every snap.
Well, that's
you know what
true.
I mean. So
Fair
it's not like just because he's on the side with Jamar Chase. I mean, they could be playing quarters or cover 2 or what have you, and it's not like this guy's going to be locked up with him down the field or shadowing him the entire play.
But when you're playing teams that have 2 great wide receivers, are you likely to play?
Depends on
man more or zone more?
Adam, it depends on the team and the situation and the need.
Yeah.
And also it depends on the player. Like, you know, I was in I'm trying to think, Minnesota. I was in Philly. I mean, like we had some really good corners in Philadelphia. You know, we had Lito Shepherd, with Sheldon Brown, Rod Hood, bunch of really good players, and like Lito played on the right side.
That was it.
He played right side.
Yeah.
And Sheldon played on the left side, and it was just because there was a certain comfort level with the way those guys played. And yeah, they were both veterans and really good players, but you know, for like a guy like Denzel, well, really Denzel I think can do anything.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, is Newsome, if we put Newsome in a spot where he's got to go play on the right side or left side, a spot he's not comfortable with, does that make us worse? I mean, does it make it like, oh man, we're just gonna get picked on wherever we put him if we don't put him on the side he's comfortable with?
Yeah.
So that's up to Jim Schwartz to decide.
Right.
I've been in places where we played left and right. Been in places like when I was at Ohio State, Chris Gamble was the most unbelievable athlete I've ever seen in my life, and so he would shadow their top receiver for the most part, and I played the boundary.
By the way, we had a quick sidebar yesterday at the end of the show. We did our Mount Rushmore of Ohio State corners.
Is that what you sent me that thing?
Yeah, because I was Googling.
I never saw that before.
I mentioned it on the air too. So I was Googling because I don't know the history of Ohio State. I knew all the names once I saw them, but I wasn't sure. I was like, we were doing a.
It's an insane list.
It is insane.
And the fact that I'm even
crazy.
on that list is insane too.
Well, but that list was the 10. So the list
Best seasons,
I was looking for the best Ohio State corners of all time, and I came across this list that said the 10 best individual seasons by a corner in Ohio State history, and Dustin in the championship year was number 10 on the list.
I mean,
so that was impressive.
It's pretty wild.
So that's why I texted that.
All those guys in front of me are like, first round picks.
But this is who I picked for my Mount Rushmore: Jack Tatum, Mike Doss, and
DBs.
So that not corners.
You're going DBs.
Sorry, DBs. Yes, not just corners. Antoine Winfield and Chris Gamble. Those were my 4.
Great list.
And who did Tyvis and G have that I left out?
Plummer, Springs.
Sean Springs.
Sean Springs and Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah. Denzel Ward, obviously.
There's a million of good players.
We all agreed Tatum and Doss had to be on there.
Yeah. Tim Fox.
He was also on one of the lists I looked
Probably
at.
safeties.
Yeah, no, it was either the top 10 individual seasons by now I can't remember if it was by a defensive. No, I think that was specifically corner. And maybe he was on this one list I saw of top 10 defensive backs.
Tim made the all-century team or it was like maybe it was, I don't know. It was a big deal. Because he was awesome. I mean, he All-American. But I'm third all-time in Ohio State history in pass breakups.
That's incredible.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Who's 1 and 2? Do you know?
It's Antoine Winfield and I think Sean Springs.
Okay.
I think.
Wow.
That's a hell of a list.
Yeah.
That is an incredible list.
Yeah.
So before the injury to Emerson yesterday, earlier in the offseason, we had, and it may have been with this exact panel, we did the topic of which position groups do you feel the best about with the Browns. And we all came to the conclusion it was either the defensive line or the defensive backs. And now, without Emerson.
No, I said offensive line.
Oh, you did say you were the one opposite of that, which was good.
I don't remember that.
I'm curious, though, big picture, not necessarily ranking them, but if you were at, and we'll just use an arbitrary number, a 7 for the defensive back position group now, where do you see that group minus MJ Emerson? Does it drop it just 1 point to a 6? Is it a bigger drop down to a 4 or a 5? How do you see that?
What do you guys think? I mean,
I honestly don't know how good Cam Mitchell is and how he's going to play in the slot. And I don't know where the motivation level is and where, Newsom's at right now.
It changes 2 positions.
It does.
Yeah.
Right? So,
I mean, we assume they're going to do this, right? There's no
That's
reason
true.
to assume anything otherwise.
Stefanski did mention it this morning that at least to start, Newsom's going to slide outside.
Yeah.
Mitchell would get the first reps in the slot. But then they mixed it up according to Zach Jackson as practice went on.
But so Mitchell or Newsom is replacing Emerson, and Mitchell is replacing Newsom, if that's how it plays out, which is what Stefanski said would happen initially and probably will end up being the case. So do we look at that as downgrades in both spots?
I mean, I would say you have to say some downgrade because if it wasn't a downgrade, then why weren't those guys playing there already?
Yes.
Right?
As rough of a season as Emerson had last year, at no point that I can recall did Newsom ever replace him.
Never.
So, and is that hard to do mid-season to switch to go from after you're repping slot all year to then throw a guy on the outside?
If you're not getting any reps in practice at it, it's absolutely very challenging.
That plays a role in it as well. Maybe they just figured like we're already too far down this path to change now. Right. But the fact that Greg couldn't supplant him. I mean, Greg was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
And he lasted, I think, 1 year on the outside, and then Emerson came in as like a fourth, right? Fourth round pick?
Third.
Yeah.
I think third
and as a rookie, early as a rookie, Greg was out, and Emerson was in.
So you now have downgrades in 2 spots in your secondary. Right? I mean, yeah, it's downgrades.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell had a lot of moments as a rookie where we thought, man, they did it again. They found another mid-round,
fifth rounder.
slot
Okay,
corner.
so maybe it won't be a downgrade at the slot corner. I
mean,
guess
for-
time will
for
tell.
now,
but
you would
on
have to
paper, for now, it's
you have to
downgrades.
say it's at least a half a step down.
Yeah.
But I think that there's the potential that Mitchell could be just fine in the slot based on what we've seen before.
I mean, honestly, I don't feel great about the secondary outside of Denzel Ward, period. I mean, I've always thought Grant Delpit was pretty good, but he felt like he was going in the right direction, like up, and then last year went back down a little bit. That's how I see it. He's been injury prone. So I felt like going into last year, I was real high on the secondary. It felt like they were in a great place. And now I'm like, yeah, Denzel's awesome, but I don't love anybody else. They're all just okay, I think.
Well, you hope that the defensive line and linebackers, which have been improved with upgrades in the draft, that I mean, it's not one guy in the secondary. You know, you got to play some good team defense.
Right.
Look, I probably wouldn't have had all those pass breakups or had the career I had at Ohio State if I didn't have like 4 first-rounders on the defensive line. You know what I mean? It helped when those guys can get to the quarterback and you're not out there, you know, with your ass out trying to cover these guys, and it's hard. Yeah. It's really hard to cover these guys down the field.
The D-line obviously should be a lot better. Linebacker, I don't know. I mean, you know, obviously you don't have J.O.K., who's been your best linebacker. Now, he didn't play most of last year anyway. And we hope Schlesinger is going to be good, but he's still a rookie.
Yep.
So, and they lost, Hicks?
Retired.
Hicks retired. So who you got? I mean, you got Schlesinger, you got
Diabate, right?
Diabate. He showed some nice things last year. And then what's his name? For Devin Bush.
Yeah, Bush, who still has his own legal problems that he's still working through.
Exactly. So, all right, Mike.
Let's get to our next topic, guys. Before we do that, a quick reminder that FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Summer sports are in full swing. Whether you're about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburnt at the beach. We've been using FanDuel since UCSS launched, and it has helped all of us have fun, win some money with their new daily promotions. It makes betting even more fun. If you're new to FanDuel, well, we have an offer just for you. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. Open up the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. I understand the irony of doing that, Reed, as we pivot to the Cleveland Guardians and the fallout from the Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz gambling allegations and investigation. But on yesterday's show, Bull mentioned in a 3.5-minute rant that he believes if these allegations are true and this investigation comes back that Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz were gambling on the game itself, he believed that the Guardians should completely clean house. Antonetti, Chernoff, Vogt. It would be time for a complete organizational restart. Bull, did I paraphrase that correctly?
Yes, but let me make it very clear, because obviously people take everything out of context, that to me this is just the final straw. It's not we're firing everybody because of this. To me, it's the final straw that puts me over the top, because I said a month ago that for the first time since I moved to Cleveland, I have doubts about the front office. And if they don't turn it around by this year, in the next year, then I think it's time to move on. And that's how I felt for a while. And I feel like this incident, and they say, well, how is it their fault? It just shows a lack of institutional control, in my opinion, once again. And this has put me over the top, and I've decided I don't want to wait another year. There's too much incest within this building. They never break out of their cocoon there. We were having a conversation right before we went on the air about politics. We won't get into the details. But one of the biggest problems with politics in this country is that people don't leave their cocoons. They only listen to the people in their cocoons, and so you never get an honest opinion from the other side. And so, and that's what's happened with the Guardians, is that they never talk to anybody outside of their cocoon. I'm on a roll of using the word cocoon. And so And so that's why I think it's time for a clear. And I don't say it lightly. I don't feel good about. I think obviously Mike Chernoff and Chris Antonetti have overall done a good job. But at some point you need a new voice. At some point you need a new leader. And I think it's time.
Yeah, I mean they're. I mean I think I know those guys a little bit. From the time we've covered the team and they've always been really good to us. I think they're great guys. They mean well, but you're right. I mean, sometimes things can get a little bit stale. And the way that the organization has been run over the last X amount of years, basically since, they were all here pretty much when Shapiro was here, right?
They've all been here, yes.
For
years and years.
Shapiro left and then everyone got sort of bumped up. I like those guys. I do. But I don't disagree with you. When you have a situation like this with the gambling, I mean, if this was the one thing that they've had, I wouldn't fire these guys.
Of course not, yeah.
But it's been a bunch of things. And you mentioned yesterday on the pod we did about Mickey Callaway. That's another issue that you had a problem with.
That's a big issue in the front office.
Right.
And
so, I mean.
And it got swept under the rug because it didn't happen while he was here. Well, it did happen when he was here, but it didn't get to the public light until after he was gone.
It just feels like the culture has gotten stale, and we need to probably change things up a little bit.
All right, Jason, tell me why I'm an idiot. Go ahead.
I don't think you're an idiot, but I disagree with what you're saying because when it was just Luis Ortiz, I think you agreed with me that it wasn't Antonetti's fault. That's Luis Ortiz's fault. So Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase were pretty tight. They're pretty good friends. Obviously, no one has come out and said they're connected, but come on, they're connected.
Of course, yeah.
So I'm not going to blame Antonetti for Clase when I didn't blame him for Ortiz, so I don't know how this can be the thing that gets you over the line on that. This is bad. The gambling thing is really bad. And I know baseball's come out and the Guardians have come out and said, this is it, there's no more. And I'm like, okay, well, how can you say that? Nobody's talked to Clase yet because Clase didn't find out about he was being pulled until either Sunday or Monday. So there's no chance that baseball had sat down and spoken to him and interrogated him or whatever prior to them coming out and saying, okay, there's no more. I'm not saying there's more to come. I'm saying I don't know how they can be that confident when they haven't spoken to Clase yet, unless they're just going strictly off of Ortiz and the information that they have. This, to me, is not a front office problem. It is an ownership problem. And so when you're talking about some of the misses that they've had in the past, it's because they're trying to fight a 12-round fight against a heavyweight with their hands handcuffed behind their back.
You know what, Jason? I've killed the owner a million times. And yes, the owner is to blame for a lot of the problems. But the constant blaming of ownership, which I and others have done, has led to the front office getting a pass. And they
don't get a pass. They were in the ALCS last year.
Okay. So
you can't just sweep that away.
I'm not sweeping it under the rug. That's what makes this hard and makes it complicated.
That's why
I'm not saying I understand why you and I when I said what I said yesterday, I said this is not going to be a popular opinion. I'm going to be in the minority on this. I expect it to be, and I understand. There is obviously an argument why you would keep people and not move on.
They should be the Pirates. They should be.
But
and they're not because of the people that they have.
Well, some of it is that, yes. But some of it is they got lucky.
Yes.
They got lucky.
They overperformed last year.
Yes. And when the Browns fell on their face after a good season, I said, well, and I didn't think the Browns were going to be good last year. A lot of people thought they'd go back to the playoffs. I did not. And the reason I didn't is because the way they won was not sustainable. And the same thing was with the Guardians, but I didn't look at it that way because I give more credibility to the organization. But the reality is the way the Guardians won last year was not sustainable. They won with a bullpen. They won really mostly because of a bullpen that was all-time great. And there was no way that was ever going to happen again. That never happens in baseball.
Well, their bullpen's been pretty doggone good again this year.
But pretty doggone good is not good enough. It had to be all-time great.
The part that isn't sustainable is you're not going to win without hitting the ball out of the park. That's how you win in the postseason. You have to be able to hit the ball out of the park.
That's right. And they have, and this, the front office, you can say, well, okay, ownership hasn't given them enough money. Nobody disagrees. Nobody disagrees with that. And that's why everybody's to blame. because the way people responded to what I said was like, you're only blaming the front office. No, I blame the ownership a million times. I'll blame the manager. I'll blame the players. Everybody's to blame here. And what did they do? There's never any accountability for anybody in this organization. Nobody's worried about losing their job ever. We talk about a country club with the Browns. The Guardians' whole front office is a country club.
But if they underperformed every single year, they would be fired. They fired Manny Acta. They fired Eric Wedge. So when you underperform, you are fired.
Okay, well, they have underperformed. They haven't developed a hitter
They didn't
in a decade.
last year. They didn't underperform last year.
But Jason, I'm not talking about what the team did. I'm talking about what the front office did.
See,
they have developed no hitters essentially in a decade. None.
Yeah, listen, it's not good. And I said before, I thought they should overhaul their entire hitting approach.
And then what happened? They just hired another guy within.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever going to change.
So I don't totally disagree with what you're saying, because I do think that they should look at how they approach hitting.
Yeah.
It's not working. Their pitching they've mastered it. And they have other teams coming to them to say, how are you guys doing this? And they've plucked all of their guys who are the brainchild behind it, except Carl Willis is the only one they've kept. Ruben Niebla's gone. Matt White, I think the pitching coach with the Yankees, was one of the guys here, and they still keep doing it. It is a machine. The hitting they need to overhaul. But part of the reason that they have really smart people and they have the stability is because they know they are going to get a long runway. So I don't think that you overhaul the whole thing and throw everybody out because of the gambling thing. That's Luis Ortiz's fault, and that's Emmanuel Clase's fault. Now, if it turns out that there's 10 guys in on this, okay, then we're going to have a different conversation. But we're not at that point yet.
They knew something about Clase, and they continued to let him pitch.
And that was weird.
And that's a disgrace.
Well, because I wrote about that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you have a feeling something's coming, and he pitched in both games of the doubleheader Saturday, and you had him warming on Sunday. Technically, did they do anything wrong? No, because he hadn't been suspended yet. But it's pretty clear the lines are blurred there on that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's worth a discussion about, but I don't think you fire the guy because
How about the fact that you look at their top 10 prospects 2 years ago, 3 years before, none of these guys pan out.
Yeah.
Do they have no ability to see talent, or are they not able to develop the talent?
But see,
happened here?
I go back, because I've said this before, if you go back and you look at the trade, the Jimenez trade, and the Naylor trade.
Yeah.
In a vacuum, it makes perfect sense why you would have to make those trades. The Jimenez trade, you're trying to get off the money. You don't think he's worth the contract that you gave him.
The money, yes, that they gave him.
And at the time, we all applauded it because it looked like a great deal and it looked like Jimenez was going to be a core piece. But the reason that they have to scramble that way is because of ownership. Is it really a terrible contract if you put Andres Jimenez at shortstop and he's one of the best defensive shortstops and you can live with, defensively or offensively, he's not great. He's having another bad year. But is it really that horrible of a contract if he's as elite as he is defensively? I don't know. I don't think Toronto's sweating over it. But these guys have to sweat over it because of the way that the budget is structured. And the same with Naylor. The Naylor trade worked out in a sense, because they got Ciccone, and he looks fine. But they could find another Ciccone somewhere. You see what I'm saying? But they have to create an asset for Naylor. They can't lose him for nothing. Yeah. You have to create an asset.
But you're saying that, well, that's the owner's fault because they won't spend, and that's partly true. But part of the reason they have to create assets is because they haven't developed enough assets.
They've missed on a lot of the top guys.
And trading Naylor, I don't care that they got Ciccone. Trading Naylor was a mistake because they didn't replace him. They replaced him with a 40-year-old who stinks, and they play every day. Carlos Santana, Kyle Manzardo's on the bench half the time.
He hit 2 home runs yesterday.
By far their third best offensive player. In terms of run production, he's the second best offensive player. And he sits on the bench half the time.
I'm with you. We've talked about that all year.
And that's got to be front office involvement. There's no way Stephen Votes sitting Kyle Manzardo half the time without the analytics department telling him some bullshit.
Why they've tried to cram David Fry down everybody's throat this year, I wish. He's coming around a little bit.
And Carlos Santana plays every day.
I know.
He stinks.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I'm with you.
And
I don't think he's going to be here.
How many missed opportunities?
I think in 48 hours, probably he'll be gone one way or the other.
And another reason, and okay, I get what you're saying about it's not the front office's fault that these guys did this. You know what, though? You know what's so frustrating is that it's another, like, they could have traded Clase. Now you can't get anything. Now, you had the best closer. You could have used Clase as the best closer or a great trade chip, and now you have none of that.
Yeah.
And it's another in the long line, even if you want to say it's not their fault in this case, of missed opportunities. Who could they have gotten for Daniel Espino? Who could they have gotten for Gabriel Arias?
Okay.
Who could they have gotten for Bo Naylor?
That's different.
All these guys along the line.
Clase's different than those guys.
No, I understand that.
Show me the show where you were screaming that they should trade Emmanuel Clase before 2 days ago.
No,
nobody wanted him traded.
I had no problem with him being traded. I thought it made a lot of sense to trade him.
When? This year?
I wasn't screaming to trade him as if you had to do it, but I had no problem with him being traded.
Had they traded him at this deadline, I'd have been fine with it.
Yes.
But prior to this season unraveling on them, the thought of last winter of trading Emmanuel Clase, people would write it at the gate.
I would have traded him the second he posted all his trophies.
That was weird.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
Been done with the guy.
Point is, though, now he's useless.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be out of baseball.
He's going to be banned.
He's going to be banned from baseball.
He's playing in another country.
He might be.
They got nothing for Lindor. Zero. They got absolutely zero for Lindor. He's a Hall of Famer, and they got zero.
Because they waited until he had 1 year.
Too long.
He had 1 year left on his deal.
That's right.
And then I think the pandemic really screwed them on that.
It's always something.
But I'm just saying, that's a pretty logical excuse.
No,
there is a worldwide pandemic. That's why they couldn't trade him sooner. They were going to trade him with 2 years of control, which is why I think Steven Kwan might be traded in the next 29 hours.
And part of that's because they know they're going to suck, and they're going to suck next year too, probably.
He's got, 2 years left after this? So if you're going to trade him this winter, just trade him now.
Yeah.
And you have when he's got higher value.
First of all, there's a lot of teams that want him. I think teams will give up a lot.
Oh, they will. They will. And where I agree with you, I would like to see them be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, aside from the Andrew Miller trade in 2016, very rarely have they pushed where they said, this is our time, and our time is now.
That's it.
And like the Jose thing, I think is fair. Like, you got this guy in this unbelievable contract who wants to be here, and what have you done to push all in around him?
Zero.
Very, very little. And like, I guess, Jose should have known. Nothing's going to change, dude. Like, nothing's going to change. But again, that's more of a payroll issue than it is. I do wish, and this is where I would ding Chris and Mike on this, is like, man, go all in, and it's okay to trade a top prospect. I felt that way prior to the pandemic, knowing you were going to lose Lindor.
Yeah.
Even in the pandemic season, just go. Trade. Nolan Jones was a top prospect at the time. Trade him. Like, take a shot.
Again, they've missed most opportunities to do this. They haven't. The last all-in move they made was signing Edwin Encarnacion 8 years ago.
Edwin
8 years ago. They've sat on their hands for 8 years. And when they have spent in the last 4 years, they've almost always gotten it wrong.
They've got a very spotty free agent track record because they're never shopping in the aisles where they want to be shopping.
That's fine. But there have been a lot of players on bargain basement contracts that have done well, and they haven't gotten any of them.
That's fair. But I don't think it's reason to start firing everybody. I just totally disagree with that part.
That's fair. I get it. There's certainly an argument to keep them.
I think,
but I don't think I'm crazy suggesting they've made a ton of mistakes.
Oh, they
shouldn't get a lifetime pass.
For a long time, it felt like they made no mistakes.
Yeah.
And now the regression to the mean, the last few years, they've had misses. But their misses, again, feel so glaring. Like, everybody's screaming about Junior Caminero. Yeah, it was a horrible trade. Imagine Junior Caminero in this lineup. But every organization has misses like that. The Dodgers traded Yordan Alvarez. You think they want that one back? But they're the Dodgers, so it doesn't matter. But with this organization, every mistake they make is magnified times 100 because they have no room for error anywhere else.
But they're not alone there. There's other teams in that position too.
And they've had misses too.
Right.
A lot of teams have.
But where were the hits in recent years? That's the thing. Like, pre-pandemic, there were a lot more hits than misses.
Yeah.
It seems like post-pandemic, there's been way more misses than hits.
Well, the Savali trade was pretty good if they'd play Kyle Manzardo every day.
That's one of the few good moves they've made.
I'm sure there's others. Again, I didn't hate the Naylor trade. I understood what they were doing. But the frustrating part is you go to the ALCS and then you cancel FanFest and you cut payroll. That's an ownership thing. That's not a front office thing. And the fact that you felt like you always have to be creating assets, like you always have to be regenerating these guys. You can't ever just play it out and lose a guy to free agency because you can't recover from that. That's the frustrating part. But that, again, goes back to ownership. That's not a front office thing. And the thing that really frustrates me, kind of off topic, but kind of not, like Jimmy Haslam and D. Haslam, I've got a ton of issues with them. And we've talked about it at length. At least they talk. Twice a year they talk.
At the
owners' meetings And then yesterday, every year at the start of training
no matter
camp,
how dumb he sounds,
they make themselves available
Yes.
to the local media once a year. And then if you go to the NFL owners meetings, you'll get them in a much more comfortable, relaxed environment at the NFL owners meetings. When does Paul Dolan ever talk? Dan Gilbert hasn't talked since the stroke in 2018. And I know there's health-related reasons behind that.
Right.
The fact is, he's done some very controlled one-on-one type stuff, very, very little. But nobody hears from the Cavs owner anymore other than on Twitter, and nobody ever hears from the Guardians owner.
No, I got a big problem
Jimmy's
with
the only one in town who talks.
Yeah, I give him credit for that, especially because he sounds like an idiot half the time, and yet he still keeps doing it.
He was very honest yesterday about a lot of things.
We'll get to that next, by the way.
And Dolan has never really talked. He'll do a one-on-one with somebody every once in a while, and he never talks. There's no accountability for him.
I have defended the Dolans time and time and time again because of the structure and the culture that they've built and the stability within the organization, and hire smart people, let them do their jobs. I think they get a lot of things right. It's getting harder and harder and harder to defend them as we get closer and closer to the end.
Yeah.
Where their payroll is at, it's like they still haven't recovered from the pandemic.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
It's embarrassing
it's
where
bullshit,
their payroll
but
levels are at.
The Guardians front office has still not done a great job in the last few years, in my opinion. And what's crazy is if they don't make the playoffs this year,
and they won't.
And they won't.
They will not.
The Browns and Guardians will have gone to the playoffs the same amount of times in their last 5 seasons.
It's pretty remarkable.
2 out of 5. Which is hard to believe.
Guardians went farther, but it doesn't matter because they didn't win at all.
No.
Before we move on, I just want to give Dustin one chance to speak because he looked like he was watching a tennis match. Back and forth. And
sorry, buddy.
All good. Dustin, which side do you fall on? On both sides that if it is true they should clean house, or on Jason's side that it's maybe a little premature for that?
I mean, listen, I'm not going to be a phony here. I'm not locked into the Guardians. Like, I don't care about them as much as these guys. But I am more of a casual fan, and I do want the team to have success. And I go to games, and I watch the games, and I know these guys, and I think they're good guys. And they've done a good job to this point with the limited payroll. I also see the side of, hey, you know what? These guys have been here for like 15-ish years, plus or minus a few. I'm not sure exactly how long they've been here, but it's a long-ass time. Mm-hmm. How many guys around Major League Baseball or around professional sports in general stay in the same place for that long?
No.
In these prominent roles, it's just unless you're winning titles, it's hard to keep a job that long.
That's right. And they've gone to a championship once, and they've haven't won any. Overall, listen, if you said to me you can only do one or the other, new owner or new front office, I would say new owner, absolutely. But the new owner may want to change things in the front office. And I'm sick of, as I said yesterday, enough with, will David Blitzer spend money? Just let David Blitzer take over, and let's find out if he's going to spend money.
Yeah.
Again, nobody's asking them
No one's going to spend less than Dolan.
No. Nobody's asking them to, and we're not asking them to have a Yankees or Dodgers payroll. But it's not unreasonable for them to have a Brewers or Cardinals payroll.
Funny, I was just going to say the Brewers.
You know what's crazy is the Cavs. I'm going to get this wrong now. The Cavs have led the NBA in spending like 4 times in the last 10 years. And the Browns have led the league in spending a couple of times. I mean, those sports are structured so differently with the television deals. It makes everything, it's not an apples to apples comparison. But it's wild to think that in the small market town like Cleveland, the Cavs and the Browns lead the league in spending multiple times. And the Guardians are
near the
are where they are.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Well,
all right.
Jimmy Haslam has deep pockets. We're going to talk about some of the things Jimmy Haslam said at his press conference yesterday after we introduced you to a new sponsor to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. It's 5-Hour Energy. Right now is the perfect time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. Golf is all about the good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouses to go without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5, hourenergy.com, you can use promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This promo is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today.
They just released the top 10 grades for rookies in Madden, by the way, and Mason Graham 4th with an 80.
Cam Ward
What's
is
Travis?
71.
What's Travis?
Travis Hunter's an 84, Ashton Jenney an 83, and Abdul Carter an 81, then Graham an 80.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's talk about what Jimmy Haslam said. We have
Yeah.
2 different things from his press conference yesterday that I want to have us opine on. The first was his patience in terms of team building. He was asked about whether or not he believes the franchise quarterback's on this roster, how quickly that has to be found. And I spliced together 2 of his answers to give you the full picture of what he was asked, because he was asked to follow up. And I know Jason has a bit of an issue with what Jimmy said here. So let's listen to Jimmy Haslam from yesterday on the timetable towards turning this thing around.
You know, we made the decision last year to take a step back after last year's disaster and looking at our roster and knowing that we needed a quarterback to do this over a 2 or 3 year period. You know, it's too early to say, but we like our rookie group. We'll know a lot more, you know, after we play 2 or 3 exhibition games and the young guys get to play a lot, but we like the group, and particularly if Q can come back, we like it a lot. Now, could we take a big jump in 1 year? Yes, but we talk about we're not going to panic. We're going to draft good players. We're going to build through the draft, and next year we have 9 picks, including 2 ones. So that should help us. You know, I think you have to realize that we went 3 years with no ones, and I think at least one of those years we didn't have a 2, and maybe 2 of those years, and that hurts you roster-wise. I mean, it just does. And the players that are available in the first round, the chances of them being successful are way better than second, and second's better than third, et cetera. So we're going to continue to stockpile those draft picks.
Well, listen, when he says 2 or 3 years to find a quarterback, he's counting this year as year 1.
Yeah.
Next year is year 2. And then 2027 is year 3. So nobody has pounded this drum louder than I have of, guys, they had the second pick in a 1 quarterback draft. It wasn't going to happen in this past draft. Their future quarterback is in this draft. However,
we hope
there's no circumstance in which this can drag out a 3rd year. Like, you got 1 more shot at this. And I'm totally fine with giving them a pass on not drafting a quarterback in the first round last year. They didn't think there was any there worthy of where they were picking from. That's why they dropped from 2 to 5. They got the extra pick so that they can find their quarterback in this draft. And if you really want to put your tinfoil hat on, of course, the first question is about Arch Manning, which was kind of funny that that's the very first question. It's Arch.
It was also funny that he answered it so directly.
But he says, we think Arch is going to spend 2 years in college, so it's not worth discussing. Well, to say Arch is going to spend 2 years in college, and by the way, it may take 2 or 3 years, do the math. The math is lining up that in your – no, you can't.
No,
you can't.
no.
You have to find the franchise quarterback, either somehow by luck already on the roster or more likely in the draft next year. But this idea that it could take 3 years – meaning this is year 1 and then 2 more before you get them, that to me is beyond patience. You can't do that in the NFL. It should never take a team 3 years. If there's a down year in the draft, okay, I get it. I can't recall a time where there's ever been 2 years back-to-back where there was no quarterbacks to go get. You've got to find a quarterback in next year's draft.
Look, I am just a little bit concerned that they don't have the right people making the talent decisions.
Yeah. That's fair.
This has nothing to do with Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam wanted Deshaun Watson, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
That was his call, him and his wife's call. I mean, they own the team. They can do whatever the hell they want.
And most of us thought it was a good idea at the time.
Sure, I'm not going to be phony. You and I were like super pumped about it. We thought we had a franchise quarterback, and we did not. It was a bad move. It was a horrible move. So that's gone.
Yeah.
So now you've restacked the deck, whatever you want to say, and you've got now assets to go get that player. Guys, if this is year 1 and we're thinking that Gabriel and Sanders, now maybe one of them pans out, it's going to be a long shot.
Yes.
That one of those pans out to be a franchise quarterback. So I sort of feel like this potentially could be this year I don't think they're finding the quarterback in this year's group of guys. So we're going to be looking at next year. Are you going to let Andrew Berry make that pick?
Yeah, they are.
They're going to.
Yeah. It makes me nervous.
Here's what I think is funny.
Makes me very nervous.
Here's why I was laughing for 3 reasons. Number one, Jimmy Haslam was talking about being without all those picks as if it just happened to them. You know, like we just didn't have first-round picks. We didn't
because of him.
Moves you made. Number two, at the end, he's explaining, like, first-round picks are usually better than second-round picks. Like we're all a bunch of morons that wouldn't understand that unless he explained it. But the third thing that I think is so crazy, and I know the answer is going to be, well, you got to take a shot. You got to take a shot. He basically said the answer's not here. Correct? I mean, he said that.
I've been screaming that for months.
Okay.
Nobody wants to hear it.
You spent 3 draft picks, a 3rd rounder and 2 5th-rounders on quarterbacks that you don't believe can be the franchise quarterback. You just said you want to build through the draft. Well, and I know 5th-round picks.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But a 3rd-round pick, you should be able to get a starting player in the 3rd round.
Yes.
So you drafted a quarterback that the owner, at least, doesn't believe is any good, or certainly is not a starter. And we got to build through the draft. Well, then you should have taken another position in the 3rd round.
And to your point, Adam, it's a great point. The fact that we're sitting here on basically day 1 of pads, and we already know that these guys, I mean, you've only seen these guys in minicamp and OTAs and now a couple of training camp practices, and you sort of feel like the guy's not the answer already. That's a little bit alarming.
It is. I mean, Jason and Mike and Earl were at practice. They said these guys all suck.
Well,
I don't know if you guys said that, but I'm saying
I didn't say that. I didn't say they all suck.
Go ahead.
How often does the 3rd and 5th round pick at quarterback pan out?
It
happens.
Yeah.
But there's a far more higher hit.
Most of the starting quarterbacks were drafted in the top 35 picks.
So, I mean, he just told you.
Yeah.
Again, exactly what he told us in March at the owners' meetings. Yeah. The quarterback's not here, and we're not going to win this year. Like, he just said that. But nobody wants to hear it. Like, nobody's listening. When he's telling you, it could take 2 to 3. Yeah, we like these guys. We like the group we have. But it could take 2 to 3 years to solve the quarterback issue. We're going to build through the draft.
This is going to be a really miserable year.
Yeah. Nobody is better.
Nobody is listening. The owner is telling you the quarterback is not here, and this is not ready yet. We are not ready. We still have to recover from all this.
Nobody is better at losing and trying to convince you they know what they're doing better than the Browns. I mean, they are, if there was a competition to who is the best loser that makes you think he's not a loser and knows what he's doing, it's the Browns organization. They are the champions of that.
I'll give Jimmy
all
credit.
They've done is lose on purpose for years, and they don't win anything.
I'll give Jimmy credit because he's been very honest and transparent, and we haven't gotten a whole lot right. And there was a question yesterday about what have you learned about ownership in the NFL? And his first response is like, well, it appears like not very much. So I'm like
I do respect the fact that he's kind of made fun of himself that they've sucked
multiple times.
I give him credit for that. I mean, I've ripped him a million times, but he's the only one that gives an honest answer.
Yes.
You don't get an honest answer from Stefanski. You don't get anything honest from Berry, from anybody with the Guardians, from anybody with the Cavs. You get honest answers from him.
Yeah.
Not early on when he was here.
No, but now you do.
But I'll tell you what, people who have money, just because you're a billionaire doesn't mean you know how to run a football team.
Yep.
And,
certainly not.
And his ass has been humbled.
Yep. Very much.
You got to think. Because it doesn't matter how much money. Yeah, of course you better be.
And I will go back to when the year that they traded for Deshaun, and we sat with them at the owners' meetings, and it was a very small group. It was like 5 of us with Jimmy and D. And I said, what did the Steelers prepare you for the Browns? And I know I've told the story before, but I said, did only the Steelers prepare you at all for the Browns? And they both laughed and said no. Said we had no idea what we were doing. When we walked into the Steelers, they had Kevin Colbert, Mike Tomlin, and Ben Roethlisberger at the most important positions. Right. And we were getting sized for Super Bowl rings before we even had to write an equity check. And we're going, man, this is easy. And then they came here, and it's been an absolute disaster. So what's he do? He buys into the Bucs, where they had a stable GM, a championship-winning head coach, Mike Budenholzer, and Giannis, where it felt like, okay, he's going to be able to buy his way to a championship.
Yeah. Nope.
And then they end up firing the coach 3 months after he shows up. They have to fire the coach. So
the team looks terrible.
He has nobody in Cleveland wants to win more desperately than Jimmy Haslam. He just has no idea how to go about doing it. He keeps trying to buy his way to championships.
Right.
That's obvious. He did it in Milwaukee when he bought into the Bucs. He did it here when he gave Deshaun the contract that he gave him. he doesn't know how to build a winning culture, so he's just trying to buy his way there, and it's not working.
It not only not working, but a lot of what he's done has negatively affected. It's not just been a net neutral. It's been a net negative.
I do think that they have tried to learn from their mistakes.
I agree.
I think that it's evident that they are trying to be, like he used the word patient. I think he is very embarrassed about how they ran this team the first 5, 6, 7 years they were here, when they were just firing people constantly.
Yeah.
And again, like it's funny to laugh at, but Hugh Jackson won one game and they gave him an extension.
I know. All right, well, let's hold this for now. We're gonna have more because let's play that second clip by Jimmy.
Yeah, that is exactly the shot that we are going to play for our next topic in terms of the sound on tape, by the way, for anyone else.
I know, but the fans don't know what that means.
Well, you said it, then I said it.
I thought it was funny.
This next quote from Jimmy Haslam is brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy Football. Fantasy football season is back. Fire up the group chat. Get your draft boards ready and buckle up for a season filled with chaos. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, me and the UCS gang are playing our fantasy league on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win it all. All the fun begins on August 4th, so stay tuned and get started by creating or joining a Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That is yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL, and let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. Jason, you just referenced the patience quote from Jimmy Haslam. The first question he was asked yesterday was about Arch Manning. The very next question he was asked was from our friend Jeff Schudel, who said, Jimmy, how many games do you have to win to be considered a successful season? Which he laughed at and said, Jeff, you know I can't answer that question directly. We're going to play the second half of that answer, and then I put the back end of another answer onto it, which was Mary Kay asking Jimmy Haslam about Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry's status entering the season on the hot seat. So this is Jimmy Haslam answering those two questions.
You know, listen, we got to do better than 3, okay? To put a number on it, I don't think we will ever do that. Everybody, coaches, players, personnel, ownership, all knows that 3-14 won't cut it. We've got to do better. I think we'll know what better looks like. We talk to you all fairly frequently, and we're very supportive of Kevin and Andrew. Now, do they need to do better? Yeah, but so do D and I, you know what I mean? And these are high-pressure jobs they have, but we really like them in their roles as coach and GM, and we really like them as people. And I say this all the time. They're 38 and 42 years old.
I say this all the time. They're 38 and 42.
Yeah.
Okay.
As if it's going to take time for them to.
They're growing.
You know.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said for the patience, and that people will get better with time. I'm kind of out of patience for Andrew Berry. I go a little back and forth on Kevin Stefanski because I loved him at first, and I've soured on him a little bit. But I like what they say, but it is interesting because they talk about patience. He clearly doesn't want to fire either of these guys. However, he also said, well, 3-14 is not acceptable.
Yeah, that's not
and
good.
They could be 3-14
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah, I mean,
4-13 will be a much better than 3. 4-13 is way better.
Like, if they're 3-14 again or worse, will they get fired?
It depends on how that looks.
Yes, there's a multitude of ways to go
get to 3-14.
There are. I mean, yes, there are. I mean, you have to watch the games.
I hear you, but I mean, 3-14. I mean, there's no good 3-14.
I'm not saying it's good, but there is a path that if you are 3-14 and Shedeur Sanders plays the final 8 games and wins 3, that's where he wins the 3 games. Then I think it's maybe different.
I guess my question is, Jason, since you know the Haslam's the best of anybody here,
and I don't know them well,
and you don't know them well, but you know them better than we do.
Yeah.
Is there in the Browns? Are they definitely Berry and Stefanski 100% back next year, or is it if it's total disaster last year or worse? They're gone.
You can't ask that question now because these people could say that they love him.
That's true.
And the next day fire him.
Yes,
that's true.
I've said this many, many times. I've spoken to people in that building who got a glowing review at their annual job review, and 2 weeks later
we talked to him
fired.
last. Right. I mean,
But again, that's the type of stuff that I think they've learned from, and I think they're trying to avoid. So to answer your question, I think it's in the high 90s.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be a total and complete debacle and meltdown. Because again, if you're a GM and you have any fear, unless you want to get fired, why do you fall from 2 to 5 and set yourself up for a big draft next year if you're not going to be around to make the pick? There's no fear there that he's going to be fired, or you don't make that trade down.
I just don't understand. I can understand the argument for Stefanski. I don't understand the argument for Berry. Like, what is the argument for why you would trust him to pick the quarterback next year?
I mean, I can't give you a great one. Yeah. Honestly, I don't. This is me. I'm guessing. I'm just speculating, guessing. Number one, I think that they are thrilled that they finally have cohesion between head coach and front office.
Which is good, yeah.
Everybody's pulling on the rope in the same direction, which they've never had.
Never had, and it's good, yes.
And I think that they are afraid of making it worse.
Right, so if they fired Berry and they got another GM,
now I got to go find
he wants his own coach, and we like Stefanski. That's what I said last year. I think the main reason Berry still has his job is because of his relationship with Stefanski.
And those aren't football reasons. Like none of those are football reasons that I gave you. And maybe I'm way off, but reading the room, that's what I can come up with. Is and it's hard because AB is a really good dude. He's a really good dude.
Seems like it.
They both are.
But that doesn't mean you're qualified and you're doing a good job. But it is like it's hard to find. If he's a scumbag or a scoundrel, it's a lot easier to fire the guy. But he is a really good guy. You're right. They both are. Kevin and AB both. Yeah. I can't give you a ton of football reasons of what he's done great, of why he should still be here. But you're asking me why is he still here? Honestly, I think that's why. Because they finally see it the same way from DePodesta to Berry to Kevin. I think they see it the same way.
Don't say DePodesta in front of Jay. That's his boogeyman.
I know. And I think that they're afraid of making it worse if they fire him. And they're going to give him – and I think that there is some culpability on the Haslams that, man, we really messed up the Deshaun thing because they were the ones pushing at the end. We have to keep going.
Yeah.
Don't take no for an answer. And I think that there's some culpability there of we have to let them try and clean up the mess that we made.
All right. I mean, listen, I think continuity is good. I do think Kevin Stefanski's a decent
But only
coach.
to a certain point because everybody in the Guardians has to go.
Well, that's not fair, Jason.
Yes, it is.
It's not fair because I have mostly been positive and complimentary of the front office for years.
But you just said 15 minutes ago they've been here too long.
At this point, I think they have. The clock runs out on everybody eventually.
Eventually.
And your argument is, well, it hasn't run out on them yet. And maybe you're right.
Shapiro moved on and went to Toronto, and then Antonetti moved up. And maybe at some point Chris moves on, although I don't think he will. But at some point maybe Chris moves on, and then Mike moves
Well, the reason they don't move on is because they know they won't get fired here.
Well,
that's part of it.
That is part of it. Mike Chernoff turned down his home. I don't want. We're getting too far.
Anyway.
Mike Chernoff turned down his hometown team.
Yes.
The Mets.
Yes.
Because of the stability in Cleveland.
Yeah. Yes.
And
that's right.
When you've got kids and a family, like that stuff really matters to these guys.
100%.
It's just something we don't ever talk about.
It's going to be. I don't have a lot of faith in Andrew Berry, but there is a little part of me that thinks he's a smart guy. Well, not a little part. I mean, I know he's a smart guy, but there's a little part of me that says eventually he's going to get it right because he's a smart guy, and I believe in smart people, and I think eventually he's going to get it right. But there's not enough right now. The facts are not in his favor.
You're right.
What worries me about Andrew Berry is that I think he's good at set up all the salary cap stuff and getting picks and acquiring assets and all these things. But like when it comes to the quarterback position specifically, all those numbers, the spark numbers and this, that, and it's bullshit. Like, I think we need to look at it from a perspective of like, you got to be able to look that kid in the eyes and watch his tape and be like, okay, that's the guy. Like, who can make that call?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say Stefanski's got to have a big say in that.
And I think he does.
They work as a team, don't they? They work together.
Dylan Gabriel's in Cleveland because of Kevin Stefanski, not because of Andrew Berry. Like that was. Yeah, Kevin really likes him, and Kevin really wanted him.
That's scary.
So, I do think that Kevin. I'm not saying AB didn't. I'm just saying I've been left with a strong impression that Kevin really liked Dylan. So we can't just bang Berry for any quarterback decisions that have been made. Yeah. Kevin's part of that as well.
And whoever they draft next year, and they will draft a quarterback most likely in the first round next year.
Most likely.
If they get that wrong, then that's the final.
That's
Obviously,
probably
everybody's
it. Yeah,
gone.
then I think that's
Everybody's
probably it. And it's hard
And then you're on to another 10-year rebuild.
And the Browns have just never gotten it right. And obviously Baker's played well in Tampa, and maybe he would have turned it around here. We'll never know. I think he had to hit rock bottom.
I think you're right about that, Adam.
Yes. The Baker,
it's hard to.
Baker is not the same guy.
But as good as Baker's been the last 2 years, they still should have taken Lamar or Josh Allen.
And Baker is not going to take a team to a Super Bowl.
I agree.
So, I mean, I
don't think you can say that.
But you got to give him credit. You can't say it with certainty. I agree with Jason. If I had to bet on it, I would bet he never takes team to the Super Bowl.
It's hard to say, Adam.
But
the guy's turned into a top 10 quarterback.
I would say, I was doing my quarterback rankings the other day. I had him number 10.
Yeah.
I had him number 10. And he's become, I think he's in that third group of quarterbacks where if everything's right around them, you could win. The problem with Baker ultimately, I don't know, we'll move on in a second, is that in the end, I think he's going to kill himself with a big turnover, which he does quite often in big moments. Turnovers will continue to kill him unless he fixes that. But obviously the last 2 years, he has been a very good quarterback.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it.
I have one. Go ahead.
Go, Jason. Then I have a question for you.
Well, this is totally off topic, so go ahead.
Let me ask the question that's on topic before we get off topic. So he did mention in the beginning of that soundbite, Jimmy Haslam, he's like, it's got to be more than 3. And then Dustin said there's different ways you can get to 3. I get that. What is the threshold, for lack of a better word, do you think the Browns have to reach for Jimmy to be satisfied?
But here's the thing. They want to be bad because they're trying to get a quarterback.
I agree. They're not, again, as Dustin said, and he's right, you never know with Jimmy. He could just fly off the handle and fire it.
But I don't think he's going to do that
I think Jason's right. I think there's like a 90-something% chance, no matter what happens this year, and it's most likely not going to be good, that they're going to bring everybody back next year.
I mean,
they determined that, as you said, the moment they traded down.
Yes.
You had to assume everybody was coming back for another year.
They were punting on this year.
Yes. Look at how dreadful that offense was. Their top 2 picks were defensive players.
Right.
Again, just connect the dots and follow what they're doing.
Right.
Follow what they're showing you.
Yeah.
And he's got to come out and say 3 wins isn't good enough. But secretly, deep down, I think he's thinking, oh, we get 3 wins again. We're probably number 1 or 2 in the
right.
In the
If
draft.
they
again.
win 3 games, he'll come up with some excuse why they want to keep him for another year.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what's anybody going to do? We can't force his hand, even if we wanted to.
You want to look competitive, Adam. You don't want to get embarrassed. I mean, ultimately,
you want the rookies to play well.
You'd like for the young guys to play well. You'd like for players to get experience. You want the team to start to build a culture, and you also you need. I mean, you don't need to lose. You don't want to lose, but at the end of the day, you're going to need that pick to be high because, frankly, I don't think these guys can find the guy if it's not like the unanimous top guy. It's got to be staring in the face. It's got to be effing Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Like you got to just be like you got to have an engine luck right there.
One of these guys has to have a Burrow senior year.
Yes.
To where it's
and
then you got to have the number 1 pick.
Right. Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but we'll gotta hope for the best. All right, Mike. Oh, what was your random thing you wanted to hit, Jason?
What's your random thing, Jason?
I forgot. Oh no, I do remember. Hot take.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'm going to write about this soon, but Steve will make fun of me.
You always say that, right?
I always say that.
Or I wrote about it.
But NBA and NFL have
You're
flipped.
a writer.
And in my opinion, NBA and NFL have flipped, where the NFL has become the league where only 2 or 3 teams could win a Super Bowl, and the NBA is now the league of parity. Whereas 10 years ago, it was
only
the
3
NFL.
teams can win a Super Bowl right now?
I mean, maybe 4.
Oh, you're nuts.
I don't agree with that.
Really?
I do. I agree with you. There's way more parity in the NBA than we've ever seen.
I agree with that too.
But I think
the NFL is still built for everyone to be.
I think in the AFC, in my opinion, in the AFC there are, I'm going to say 1, 2. I'm going to say there's 5 teams that can win the Super Bowl in the AFC.
Bills, Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals. Who am I missing?
I'll say the Texans.
Chargers?
No, I don't think Texans can. I disagree with you.
My opinion. You don't think?
Well, you're wrong.
You think the Chargers?
They have Herbert.
Philip Rivers. Herbert's never won a playoff game. I like Herbert. He's never won a playoff game.
In the NFC, Eagles,
Lions.
Lions.
Anybody else?
NFC?
I think the Lions take a step back this year.
I give it under the radar team. I'm not saying it's highly likely, but I think I think the Rams could win a Super Bowl.
I agree with you.
No, I'm not.
I put them at a low percentage, but
well, you got
that's 8 teams.
You guys
for me,
are helping
8.
me workshop a piece.
So at least
I'm at 6. I'll give you 6.
You're at 6. I mean, it's still not 2 or 3.
Tampa Bay.
No.
It's on Dustin's list, Tampa Bay. Anybody else? Who are we forgetting?
NBA,
They're
how
a
many
crappy
teams can win?
division, dude. I mean,
Could the Steelers win a Super Bowl if Aaron Rodgers has one great year?
No, they're not winning a Super Bowl.
Washington, Jaden Daniels.
Oh,
no,
Washington?
no.
I would completely rule out Washington. They got a shot.
I think they're going to regress a little bit.
Right, but he
And
was
then-
good enough that
Yeah.
you can't completely write them off.
Yeah.
If you have a top, 6 or 7 quarterback, you got a chance.
What
you're
about NBA?
telling me that Pittsburgh makes the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers and he's having. I mean, by the way, he had a pretty decent year last year, stats wise.
I think
they're going to have a chance. They've got it.
I wouldn't say 0% for the Steelers, and I don't.
You can't say 0%. They make the playoffs and they win.
said I wouldn't say 0%.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't think. I think it's a pretty low percentage because the odds that Aaron Rodgers at his age will have a good season, and like we saw Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, a lot of these guys at the end of their careers, they'll be good for part of the season, and then as the year gets to the end, they start to tail off. Outside of Brady, nobody has sustained a full great season in their 40s. We've never really seen it.
I think I'll give you 6. I'll give you 6 in the NFL.
I would say
NBA, the number's higher.
I would say there's even 10 that I'd give a shot to. 6 that
Not
have
a
a
real
reasonable
shot.
shot.
Not a real shot.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have to
I mean,
go their
it's
way.
a third of the league.
Yeah.
Can win 10 teams.
Yeah. Now, in baseball, even though it's unbalanced, the nature of the sport is every team that makes the playoffs can win the World Series.
Yes, I would agree with that.
In basketball, as of today, how many teams do you think can win an NBA championship? I mean, in the East,
Do you count
Six?
like the Celtics
5?
without Tatum?
I don't
Three?
think.
No, I don't think Boston can.
I look
this
at the
year.
East and I'm like, I don't think any team in the East can win a championship.
Oh yeah, they could. Cavs could for sure.
Cavs and Knicks.
Cavs.
All right,
Knicks.
so there's 2, and then you got OKC, and then who else?
What about Orlando? Could Orlando win a championship?
Denver. I don't think Orlando.
Orlando's
can
a
yet.
year away, a year or two
Could
away.
Houston though, Denver for sure.
Milwaukee can't? You tell me there's no way with Giannis they can win a championship?
No,
I think the
they're
rest of
not
their
winning
roster is
champions.
atrocious.
They're not
The
winning.
Cavs can't win in the second round. They're going to win a championship next year?
Could they? Yes. But we got to talk.
Wait, hold on. We just got to do the teams. We got to see if Jason's right. No?
I mean, sure. Keep going.
Mike's giving me a dirty look.
It's fine.
How
Move
many
on.
teams in the NFC? In the
the
West,
West?
Mike. Oklahoma City,
Houston,
Denver.
Denver for sure.
Who else?
I think you have to put the Lakers in there.
I absolutely. I was going to say the
have
Lakers.
LeBron and Luka.
If you got LeBron and Luka, you got a chance.
If we're gonna go,
That's 6.
if we're going long shots,
Yeah.
I think the Clippers are in that conversation too.
If you're counting the Clippers, I can count Washington or Houston in football.
Clippers got a lot of talent. They're old.
But they're old.
That's what I'm saying. But if
It's about the same, football and basketball.
All right, maybe I won't write it. Ha! Can't put it on the list.
See? But I still think it used to be clearly football had more than basketball. Now it's about even, I think.
All right, maybe I'll write it.
Jason, if the Eastern Conference wasn't such a debacle, and you could add Boston and Indiana back into it,
Yeah.
you have a point.
Yeah.
I think this year with those two teams and Philly, with the complete uncertainty of Philly,
I would
there's
never
just
put
so
Philly
few
on the list.
contenders in the East that it may be tough.
I mean, it's
But
going to be hard
one
for anybody to beat Oklahoma City right now.
Yeah.
They're just going to get better. But go ahead.
There is one more topic we got to get to before we welcome Aditi Kinkobwala to the show, who just did a great sit-down interview with Joe Flacco. She's going to give us a little insight on. Before we do that, a quick reminder that summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball, golf, soccer, you name it, FanDuel is the place to bet on it. You've already been following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburnt at the beach. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if their first $5 bet wins. Open up the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. We lost Dustin here for a second.
He'll be back in a
Quick-
minute.
Quick bathroom break, but while Dustin's not here, and it's a baseball topic, so it's okay without him.
Yeah.
There have been reports since the Clase news came out, even before, and Steve, you want to take tag? We'll hear Jeff Passan was on ESPN Cleveland Radio this morning and basically said over the last 48 hours, he's heard that Steven Kwan has a legitimate shot to get traded. It's also almost a certainty that Shane Bieber would get traded. Ken Rosenthal also tweeted out this morning, or John Heyman, excuse me, not Ken Rosenthal, that the Dodgers are one of the many teams in on outfielder Steven Kwan. The Dodgers could form a nice package starting with top catching prospect Dalton Rushing, who's blocked by years by MVP candidate Will Smith. So that got me thinking. If the
I would like to get Dalton Rushing.
If the Guardians do trade Steven Kwan, what kind of return should Cleveland fans expect? Is it 2 top prospects, 3, 1? What do you think the return would be?
I don't know. I mean, it depends. I can't say how many because it depends how good those prospects are.
Right.
But I got to get a hit. Like Dalton Rushing could start today for the Guardians. He's in the majors right now. He just doesn't play a lot because their starting catcher is one of the best catchers in baseball. So there's not a lot. But Dalton Rushing's a top prospect, and he's ready to play in the majors. To me, if you got Dalton Rushing in a deal, he's your starting catcher. That's it. You cut Austin Hedges, or maybe you put Bo Naylor in the trade. I don't know, make it a bigger deal. But you better get a lot for Kwan because all these teams want him. I do think, I said like 5 days ago, I thought there was almost no chance they were going to trade Kwan. But now because of the unraveling and what's happened here with Clase, I think it's more likely. I still don't think it's a short thing. Heyman's been talking about it as if it's nearly a short thing. We know the Guardians, they're not going to trade him unless they feel like they get a great deal, and they better.
I think they're trading him.
You think it's near certainty, huh? You think the Clase thing put it over the top, right?
I don't know. Bieber was gone before Clase. They were already trading
Bieber's
Shane.
Gone, yeah.
They were trading Shane.
And he pitched fine yesterday.
And I think a lot of people look at the Clase thing and then hear Bieber and Kwan and think this is all because of that. It's not. Shane was already on the way out.
Right. Well, he's a free agent, essentially, at the end of the year, so...
Yeah. He was going to opt out.
Right.
And again, it goes back to the obsession of always having to create assets for these guys rather than just take a shot.
Right.
And again, that's an ownership thing to me more so.
But
than office thing.
I do think they're more likely to trade Kwan, not Bieber, but Kwan because of the Clase situation.
Well, the Kwan thing really comes down to trying to maximize the value of the asset. You said they held on to Lindor too long and they didn't get anything for him. Well, with Kwan right now, you can get a bounty for him because there's a lot of teams in on him.
Yeah.
The Phillies, the Padres, the Dodgers, just to name 3.
Yeah.
And there's more than that. There's a lot of teams that want him. Frankly, I think they probably would have traded Clase had this not happened. I think there's probably a decent chance he would have gone. And you had a chance to restock everything. If you trade Kwan, Clase,
that's assuming you get it right.
Shane, I mean, you're getting a ton of prospect value back for that. The problem, I think, I was talking to Zach about this a little bit, if you do move on from Kwan, is it create a Jose issue of Jose standing here going, I'm 32 years old, what are we doing here?
I mean, their lineup's bad enough now.
Yeah, so you are really, if it were me, I would just trade Kwan. I'd just trade him now. Maximize the value.
Yeah.
He's got 3 postseasons of control left after this. If you're going to trade him this winter anyway, then just do it now because you're going to get a higher return on him now.
I don't want to hear about trade because Zach and I were talking yesterday, and he was like, one of the guys, because the Padres obviously really want Kwan.
Yep.
And one of the guys they were talking about, their best prospect is like an 18-year-old.
I was just talking to Mike about him. I think he's one of the best prospects in baseball, but
I can't trade for an 18-year-old.
He's 18. He's at least 2 years away.
Not interested.
I like him, but I totally get the idea of you got to wait 2 years for this guy.
No, that's ridiculous. They better get somebody that's ready to play in the majors right now.
Oh, and they will. They would. I mean, the star of the deal could be 2 years away, and they're still going to get 2 or 3 pieces that can help you right now. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be.
It's interesting to see what they get. Like Kwan is such. There's not really a comp for him in baseball.
I think he's very good. If you can
he's not a superstar.
No,
he's not. Yeah,
he looks better than what he is in this lineup because this lineup is so horrendous.
Right,
he's a 300 hitter with some power and elite defensively.
Yeah,
but he's not playing in the right position.
But it's in left field.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if you can turn that, I mean, he's a career 285 hitter.
Yeah. He's hitting 286 this year, so he's
now 286 is like hitting
320 15 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. But still,
he's a limit. He's very outside of power. Every other aspect of his game is good to excellent.
Very good.
Yes.
He's very, very good.
Yes.
And I don't want to diminish him.
No, and he's he's a good guy, good teammate, all that stuff.
He's a great leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
He's a leadoff hitter from the 80s and 90s.
Yes, totally old school.
And if put him where he belongs in center field and put power on each side of him, he can be really good. And, I was talking to Zach about this. I was talking to Mike with it before the show. I don't know why you can't sit down with him and say, listen, the trade deadline is in 28 hours. Here's the Andres Jimenez contract, 7 years, $105 million. If you want to be here, sign it. If you don't, we're going to trade you tomorrow.
Why not?
It's that simple. And if he doesn't, I don't know why you can't give him. If you were going to, now it's not a perfect alignment.
Yeah.
Because Jimenez had yet to reach arbitration, and Kwan is already into arbitration.
Yeah.
So it's not
maybe a little more
comparison.
Maybe a little more.
But it's at least the framework of something.
I don't think he's going to get that much more in any kind of deal. I mean, again, when you don't hit for power, you don't get paid a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And he's got some.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's not going to hit 30.
he's not going to hit 20.
He might get 20.
Think he's going to.
He's still early enough in his career. He may.
We'll see. I think that's his limit. Would be 20. That's minimal power. But every other aspect of his game is strong, and so there's value there. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure what the value is. So it'll be interesting to see. But obviously, the Dodgers always have good prospects.
And the Bieber thing, Shane could be the best. I mean, we'll see what happens with Sandy Alcantara in Miami.
Well, Joe Ryan.
Yeah, but
I know they're saying he might.
Who would you rather? And I honestly don't know the answer.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Joe Ryan or Shane Bieber?
Definitely Joe Ryan. First of all, I got him for multiple years.
Well, that's true. You're right. Because I'm looking at Shane.
And he's healthier.
There's more. I mean, Shane could be the better pitcher this year.
Yeah.
I know Ryan's had a great year. I still think Shane has a higher ceiling, but it's less control, and you just don't. It's a wild card.
And Joe Ryan's underrated to me. He's been a really good pitcher for a long time, but he doesn't get the hype of other guys. Yes, at their best, Bieber's better than Joe Ryan. But for Ryan, you get him for 3 years.
Yeah.
And he's healthy. Bieber's just coming back off injury, hasn't pitched in the majors in a long time.
So this may be the thing where
it's a different market. You're going to get more for Ryan because of controllable years.
But I'm curious to see the order that they go. Does Joe Ryan go first?
Well, I don't know that Joe Ryan. If I'm the Twins, I'm not trading Joe Ryan unless I get absolutely blown away. Whereas the Guardians are going to trade Bieber.
There's not a lot of pitching on the market, so Minnesota might get blown away.
I'm telling you,
there's
if
not a lot
I'm
of
the
guys
Cubs,
to pick
I'd give
from.
him a huge offer for Joe Ryan.
There's not a lot of guys to choose from right now.
No.
So I'm just fascinated to watch who goes first.
Well, Seth Lugo's off the market because he just signed an extension.
Yep.
You got Merrill Kelly. You got Zach Gallen, who's having a terrible year.
If they trade those guys.
Well, I think they will. I mean,
Alcantara.
That's who I said.
Yeah, but he pitched a decent game yesterday, but he's been terrible for the most part. They've got another pitcher, Edward Cabrera, there, who's actually pitched really well, but he's been healthy this year, but he's been very injury prone in his career.
Like on the release, I mean, Minnesota could trade Joe Ryan and Duran.
And their setup guy who's really good, Griffin Jacks.
So,
they got a lot of guys there. But, because the Rockies have no starting pitchers to trade.
Right.
The Pirates are not going to trade Skeens.
I mean, Duran to me is the best reliever now who could go. Now that Clase is off the market, it's probably Duran. So all these teams are going to be waiting on Duran to see who gets him if they trade him and who he goes.
Is there another bad team that's got a good closer?
Not really. Not who? Like I thought the Red Sox might trade Chapman.
David Bednar from Pittsburgh, is that right?
You would take Duran over Bednar.
Yeah, I would.
So I'm just saying,
Rockies don't.
I like watching the order because whoever goes first is going to break the dam, and then other deals are going to follow.
Yeah, well,
I don't know who that pitcher
is. The deadline's tomorrow. What's it? 6 p.m. this year?
6 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah. So interesting. Only 3 games on the schedule tomorrow.
It should be that way.
They should all be during the day. One is during the day, one's at like 7 o'clock, and then there's like a West Coast game.
I know in baseball it's harder. All teams should be off.
Be night games.
Yeah,
they should.
For the trade deadline day. Yeah.
The whole league should be off on trade deadline day. Yeah. It's too distracting.
Right.
To the players.
Yep.
It's got to be the worst to
in that
to
situation,
get pulled out in the middle of a game.
I've been standing in the locker room at NBA trade deadline day, like standing next to the guy, like, well, what do you think? You're going to be here in 45 minutes?
In the Orioles Blue Jays trade the other day?
Yeah. Well, I have that guy on my fantasy team. So.
Well, they're playing each other right now.
So, yesterday, the Orioles and Blue Jays had a doubleheader.
Yeah.
After the first game, the Orioles traded one of their good relief pitchers, Sir Anthony Dominguez, to the Blue Jays. And then he pitched for the Blue Jays in the second game.
I didn't realize that.
He did not pitch in the first game for Baltimore. He was on their roster, but he didn't pitch in that game.
There's a video of him walking from the
That's
happened a couple times. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
When that
Well, Joel Youngblood, I think it was, played for 2 teams in the same day and not in the same ballpark.
Oh wow, I don't remember that.
In the 80s.
I don't think you could do that in any other team sport.
No.
You got to be
No.
a relief pitcher, I think.
Oh yeah.
Or I guess
Joel Youngblood's case was a hitter.
Yeah, but I mean,
as a pitcher,
I guess baseball in general. I mean, but like as a pitcher, you could. Yeah, I mean.
There you go. So he pitched for the Blue Jays against his team that he started the day with.
That's crazy.
The second game of that doubleheader. So.
I would have pitched him too. Nobody. I mean, he's on the team. He knows these guys' strengths and weaknesses.
That's right. So, by the way, I don't know if this means anything, but the Twins had a day game today, and Carlos Correa was not in their lineup. Ooh. So people are speculating that he could possibly get traded.
He's not having a very good year.
No.
The deadline's 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you think when we come in for UCSS tomorrow, we will be previewing the Guardians' moves or reacting to Guardians' moves?
Previewing.
I agree. I could see
maybe during the show.
I could see maybe Bieber. I think if Kwan gets traded, it happens right before the deadline, like in that last hour or two.
I don't know. I think it could be
because
sooner.
they're going to wait for because teams get desperate in that last minute and they're willing to give up more. At the last second.
What's the hierarchy of outfielders? Who's going to go before Kwan? If Kwan goes, I can't think. Maybe I'm missing one.
Okay, let's go through it quickly. The Pirates.
Do you want to pull up Jeff Passan's top 50
yeah,
prospects?
Okay.
I just don't know. I think Kwan could be the
Rockies,
one that everybody's waiting on. So he may go first.
Austin Slater just got traded.
Yeah.
He's a backup outfielder. Got traded to the Yankees.
Okay, this was updated 1 hour ago. These are the top 50 trade deadline candidates. You're looking for just outfielders?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kwan's the highest.
There you go.
Yeah.
Jarren Duran of the Red Sox.
I don't think he's going to get traded.
I don't think he is either.
Yeah.
Keep scrolling. A lot of.
There's no other starting
pitchers.
outfielders.
So it's going to be Duran or
Taylor
Kwan.
Ward and Luis Robert. Ramon Laureano.
No.
Adolis Garcia.
No, forget. So
Duran or Kwan.
Luis Robert's an interesting one, obviously.
Yeah, I think he's in a different category because he's underperformed so much.
Right, but he's been better lately.
He's been better the last couple of weeks.
He's been better lately.
I think Kwan or Duran set the market. I think they'll be one of the first to go.
I don't understand why the Red Sox would trade Duran. I know they got a lot of outfielders.
That's why. They're trying to create a spot
for
for Roman Anthony.
Yeah, but he's playing anyway.
I know.
That'll be interesting. It's going to be fascinating to see what they do. I'm actually, I should have been on our Friday show because I think the trade's going to happen Thursday, and then I'm going to miss the Friday.
It may
after.
happen
You
during the show.
orchestrated Jason to get on during the deadline. You didn't orchestrate yourself.
I didn't orchestrate myself to get in on Friday. Yeah.
Bad job out of you.
Just come in.
Yeah, maybe
Come on in, man. Yeah.
Just do
Where
it.
do you think Eugenio Suarez ends up?
He
may
could end up with Francona in Cincinnati. They apparently are being very aggressive. He could end up with the Mariners. Mariners already traded for Josh Naylor.
Yeah, and they just called up their first baseman from AAA, which didn't make a whole lot of sense. Or they're in the process of calling him up. I forget the guy's name.
Which is weird. Yes. I
forget his name.
I forgot his name.
I got one more question.
Yankees traded for a third baseman already, so
they're
it won't be
out.
them. I don't think the Cubs' only weakness on offense has been third base. But Matt Shaw, their top rookie's been better lately, and I think they need pitching way more than another bat. So I don't think it's going to be the Cubs, even though I keep seeing them speculated.
Is there a chance Suarez doesn't move because they've overpriced themselves?
No, I doubt it.
I mean, all these other teams have moved on. They're not waiting on him.
Well, the Yankees did. I mean,
Yeah.
who else moved on?
Well, there was one I was the most.
Yeah, I just don't think the Cubs are going to trade for a third baseman, and they've been talked about a lot. I could see the Mariners, and I could see Cincinnati. Could Kansas City make a move like that?
I don't think they're going to buy.
They've been aggressive. They already
Shocker.
they traded for Randall Grichuk and Adam Frazier, and I know they're not big names.
Frazier's
but,
not. I mean, Grichuk surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
Frazier's a nothing.
But
Signing
they still-
Lugo. is
Yeah,
good.
go ahead.
We got Aditi ready.
Good.
So let me do a read. Aditi's coming on to talk about her recent sit-down with Joe Flacco.
Was it really a sit-down, or was it I mean, she was standing more than sitting in this piece.
That means you didn't watch the whole piece. She was sitting more than she was standing.
Well, first of all, I did watch the piece, but she was at the baseball field for a while. No?
Yeah, that was 15 minutes. The other 19
argue
were her
about
sitting
anything.
down at the...
You will argue about anything.
So
Why? Wait, I don't know if I'd call it really a sit down.
we're going to
the whole
do
time.
the read. We're going to play a little clip from that interview. You should go watch it. It's on the CBS Sports YouTube page. We'll put a link to that interview in the description of the interview with Aditi. And then we're going to talk to Aditi about it. But first, it is time to fuel up and turn it into a 5-hour energy transfusion fueled show. 5-hour energy transfusion brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the golf course or even off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. Golf is all about the good times with good people and good flavors, of course, with the grape, ginger, lime flavor. It gives you the best parts of your clubhouse to go without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5, OurEnergy.com. You can use promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your first order. The promo is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-hour energy shots today. We're going to bring in Aditi in 1 second, but first, this is a little 90-second clip from her sit-down portion of the interview with Joe Flacco. Here it is.
My career has not gone how I want it to go the last 5 years. I still feel like I do have a lot to bring, and I'm still doing this because I want to do that. I want to bring a lot to a football team. I want to win football games. I want to do all those things. And I don't necessarily care about proving it, but there's a little bit of that in there, sure. I want to prove it, that I can still do it. And it's very important to me. And like I said, I don't want to be a backup. I haven't wanted to do that for the last 4 or 5 years or however long it's been. I want to play football. That's what I want to do. Being the backup is something that I've had to do to get to this point where I actually have a chance to play. If I wasn't willing to be the backup and then sign with Cleveland, I never would have experienced that. So I am thankful for some of those teams giving me the opportunity along the way to just be the backup, because it kept me going to give me opportunities to really play football. I don't want to sit on the bench. I don't want to sit back there and watch other people play and stress about getting in there in a couple plays or not. I want to go play. So I think my mindset when I take the field is not necessarily go prove yourself. It's just do what you do. I still have a lot to prove, I feel like. I want to play football. I feel like I can. I'm excited for the opportunity to do it. Yeah.
It is so amazing to me. Sorry. Hi, Didi. I was just going to say, John Harbaugh has rubbed off on him so much. There's so much, the way he talks, it is, because I played with Harbaugh for 2 years, or a year and a half, when I was in Philly, and it's like, he sounds kind of like Harbaugh a little bit there. I love his attitude, and I'm happy that he's here, and frankly, he's our only chance to win games this year.
Maybe we shouldn't play him.
They were definitely sitting.
Do you see that Harbaugh? You see that too, the way he talks?
It's funny. I made that face because I actually don't think so at all. I think Joe is authentically Joe. He sounds so South Jersey to me. It's unbelievable.
Wasn't how he talks.
Sitting,
it's not his accent.
I'm sitting on 3 towels. Just so you know, they have bar stools at their kitchen counter that are actually not super high. Joe said it's like the best thing in the house. This is a new house that they just built. They're sort of lower bar stools. And I had to his wife got me 3 towels to sit on just so I didn't look like a 4-year-old sitting at that kitchen counter.
What was the food?
I am sitting.
What was the food? It looked good. Did you eat it?
We ordered I got a beet burger. I just saw it on the menu and I was like, what's a beet burger? And it was delicious. It was a local place that Joe recommended. The kids had chicken fingers and French fries. I think he had that too. He might have had a burger. I'm not sure. I can't remember the name right now. But if you give me a minute, I'll look it up and I'll find it.
Wait a second. You ate a burger?
We had good food.
Beet
It was a beet burger. It was made of beets. Beets and veggies and who else knows what else is in it. But it was really good.
That sounds awful.
Can you see it? It's there. What?
Yeah, it does sound awful.
Oh my! I mean, it's smart,
so good.
And that's why you're in good shape and I'm in terrible shape, Aditi. But it sounds awful.
If you watch the whole thing, Joe makes fun of me. He's like, "Here's Aditi's beet burger," but I did tell him it was surprisingly good. I offered him a piece of it too, if he wanted.
I
think, I think the point here, I think what's so interesting here, right, is that Kevin Stefanski didn't give him many reps in the spring. And the argument was, well, let's see what we have in Kenny Pickett, and we certainly want to see what we have in these rookies. It's the way the training camp sort of started, but then Flacco was promised that he was going to get a shot to get some reps. Kenny Pickett gets hurt with his grade 2-3 hamstring strain. We'll see how long that keeps him out. I believe that he's doing a little bit better than expected, but I know that they're not going to let him rush himself back. So what does Joe do with this? With increased reps, with increased opportunity? What does Dylan Gabriel do with perhaps a few reps? But I will say this, I've gotten to see Joe Flacco up close with both the Jets and the Colts. And I think in many ways he was a victim of circumstance. I think that the Colts would indeed have been better with him last year. I saw him come into a game, pressed into action against the Steelers. He led the Colts to victory there. I saw him drive the Colts back down in Jacksonville, even though they ultimately didn't win. He played very well. The next week, he engineered a really nice win against the Titans. But the Colts aren't going to give up on the number 4 overall pick. They're going to give Anthony Richardson every single opportunity. Prior to that, you go to the Jets. This is, of course, before that run with the Browns. And early in the season, Kyle Wilson was hurt. The Jets had Mike White or Joe Flacco, and Robert Saleh openly told us Joe Flacco gives us a much better chance. So they're playing Flacco. But once Wilson is healthy, again, a first-round pick. You're going to give him every opportunity to win. So it's not necessarily that Flacco couldn't play in those spots. And then we saw what he did in between the Colts and the Jets when he had this run with the Browns and how well he played up until you got to that playoff game in Houston. And so I don't think he's completely done. I don't think that he's totally washed up. And I think that he knows that too. He's pretty open in this that if he's not getting a chance, then he doesn't want to do this. And he asked himself that when he was with the Jets, when he wasn't playing, when the team wasn't winning, when it wasn't fun. He openly says, what am I doing? And so this isn't a guy that's going to hold on just to hold on. I think he's going to be pretty honest with himself when he feels he can't do it. Right now, he feels that he still can. He's clearly looking at the competition. One more thing. He's clearly looking at the competition in Berea right now. And he feels that he can beat out the other 3. Whether he can or not is one thing, but he clearly feels that he can. He's not someone who's deluding himself.
Aditi, if for whatever reason, just because they want to go younger or whatever the reason, doesn't matter. If the Browns end up cutting Flacco, do you think there's a chance he'll retire? I know he says he can still play, but if he can't win the starting job here and they cut him, and at least initially nobody's interested, do you think he might retire?
I think he'll still stay in shape and he'll see how the year plays out, right? And then if nobody calls, if no one calls, if there's not a playoff team that needs an arm later in the year, like the Browns did a few years ago, then I do think it's a possibility. You know, like he plays at I really would beg everybody, please go watch the whole video because his kids are just fantastic. It's such a great statement on Joe and his wife, Dana, how tremendous these 5 kids are. They've got a lot of spirit. They tease their dad, but they're so well behaved and polite as well. I had a great time with them. I really, truly had a great time with them.
They were killing him.
I mean, they were. The older 2 are. I don't know that the younger ones are just yet. Yeah. But, like, they're really funny about it. They're like, well, we have to rip him because Dad brags a lot. Like, they don't rip their mom as much.
My kids are the same way.
They have to keep his head down. It's a really cute play. They're great kids. But on the one hand, we can joke that he wants to prove something to his kids because when he was really killing it on the field, they were obviously so young. 3 weren't even born. I think 4 weren't even born during that Super Bowl run, and the oldest was too young to appreciate it. Mm-hmm. They got to see it when the Browns were playing so well a few years ago. That was basically their only opportunity to see their dad doing what their dad does at the highest level. I think there's a piece of him that sure wants them to see it and appreciate it and experience it. But he also is very at ease. And I had this conversation actually with someone recently that Kenny Pickett knows that this is his chance. This is his moment, right? Whatever I have talked to all of you about, how much context there is to color those first 2 years in Pittsburgh, whatever that was, Kenny knows that this is his chance. The fear is that does he put too much pressure on himself right now then? Is that moment, is the knowing, okay, this is it. If I don't do it right here, then it's not likely happening for me again. How does that weigh on him? How does he manage the emotional piece of that? And with Joe, I'm not worried about that at all. And we talk about that. And he openly says that he approaches practice completely different than when he was young and Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and Ed Reed were on the other side. And he kind of knows what coaching to really take in and what he can let go. He doesn't feel that same pressure that Kenny Pickett feels and that the rookies maybe don't necessarily feel, that I've got to do this, and this is my one chance, and this is my one opportunity. Joe Flacco knows what he can do, and Joe Flacco knows that the football world has seen that, and that he has done that he has played at the highest level. So there, I would say, advantage Joe. He's not putting the same pressure on himself. He's got maybe a little bit more confidence than Kenny Pickett does. So does that impact the race, let's call it, the competition in any way? I don't know that the Browns cut Joe Flacco, though. Look at the way the start of that season runs out. And Jason, I know that you and I have had this conversation. Do you really throw a rookie in there? Because when you do and things are going bad, you're not going to yank the rookie out, because that's going to mess with him in every way. So would you prefer to have one of the two quarterbacks that has some NFL game experience as you face that murderer's row? And you know that offenses always start behind defenses when the season starts. I don't know. I know, Jason, that you're like, well, if it's going to be Dylan Gabriel, let's just see what Dylan Gabriel has. Maybe you do better by Dylan Gabriel, Jason, if you let him kind of get a little more acclimated, ease in a little bit. Maybe that's not a whole redshirt year based on how things go, but redshirt years aren't always so bad. Go ask Patrick Mahomes. Ask Aaron Rodgers.
I just think because of how much experience he has in college, he's not a normal – this isn't a guy who played 3 years, started 1 year, doesn't have a ton of experience. Because Dylan had 63 starts or whatever, I thought, well – it's not like he's got.
Okay, but the game is totally different. The game is
totally
different. Look, I was there last week with the Giants and Jackson Dart. You use practice to try things, and Jackson Dart tries something that is always money in college, and he gets picked off. It goes for a pick six in a practice against the Giants. The NFL game is different. Just because you've got that many. Kenny Pickett had a whole lot of starts in college too.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah, and he's
that's
not
necessarily
5'6" like Dylan Gabriel.
So pull out your crystal ball. Who wins the job?
Can you ask me Monday when I get to watch them up close?
Sure.
I think it's unfair. It's unfair, right, Dustin? Like, let me at least watch practice a little bit.
I think that's totally fair. I couldn't sit here today. I haven't been to practice yet, so I couldn't tell you how these guys look. I'm just going off of guys like Zach Jackson and Jason who've been there and watched these guys play in practice, and Mikey's been there. I will ask you this though, and I know no one knows Kenny Pickett better than you. I mean, you've seen him in college, you've seen him in Pittsburgh. Like, the injury here, grade 2 hamstring, which could be, I was talking to a doctor about this the other day. It could be a 4-week, could be 6 weeks, could be 3 weeks, who knows?
Kevin kind of hinted today like he could be back in a few days.
Well, then maybe it's not grade 2. So if it's a lesser grade, then that's good for him and his chances to get back here and practice. But the point is, if he's out for, let's say it's a few weeks, let's say it's a month, I don't know. I mean, can he still start? Can he still be the week 1 starter if he misses that much time here in camp?
I think that's probably really hard, Dustin, right? And it's not only about winning the job, it's about winning the confidence of your teammates.
Yeah.
It's your teammates wanting to feel strongly that you're the guy and that you're the one that came out on top. The one thing I will say, Dustin, when you give us a timeline, like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, that to me feels more like a wide receiver running back timeline. A quarterback doesn't necessarily need to move, although Kenny Pickett is indeed athletic,
that's his biggest strength,
shown
I think.
more athleticism. But to throw, he doesn't need to be fully, completely healed in that hamstring. They can protect a quarterback much better than they can a wide receiver or a running back in practice. So we can see him out there back more quickly than we would a running back or a wide receiver or a skill position player of any type. I've also been told that he's definitely feeling a bit better than was initially feared. But again, going back to the whole mental piece of this, I hope the Browns are smart enough to keep him from hurting himself. So what I mean by that is he is obviously going to try to get back onto the field as fast as he can, because he obviously does not want to lose ground in any way. So I hope the Browns can essentially restrain him a little bit and assure him, hey, if it is a week, you're not going to lose ground, but that week will put you in much better stead.
Well, and,
I don't know. Don't be
surprised.
I don't think it's going to be 4 weeks. I don't think it's going to be 4 weeks.
Well, that's good news. I would say this though: if they're going to protect him from himself, you can't put him in a game until he's literally 100%. Because in a game, you can't, like, as a player,
right?
You just if you're in a pass rush, you're going to sprint as fast and hard as you can. In practice,
but here's the thing: we know that nobody projected to start is going to play in the second preseason game because that follows those joint practices with the Eagles. I was just at the Eagles yesterday, and I was talking to Nick Sirianni, the Eagles coach, about this. The Browns-Eagles practices twice, I think, in the last 3 years they've had joint practices have been very, very, very intense, and so those practices are essentially the game. If Kenny Pickett was in line to start, he wasn't going to play in that preseason game anyway.
What about those practices too? I mean, those practices. I did joint practices one time. They are more intense, frankly, than probably an exhibition game. It's insane. Yeah,
correct. But you're still protecting the quarterbacks. You're not going live. So in joint practices, it's not like Jalen Carter and that defensive front are getting to tee off completely on the Browns quarterbacks. So even though everybody else is maybe live in practice, the quarterbacks aren't.
Yeah, good point.
It's a good thing because, I mean, let's face it. The Browns have less talent on offense than any team in football. Isn't that fair to say?
They're one of the least talented teams. I don't know. You can say they're the worst.
They have no clear starting quarterback. They have no clear starting running back. They have one clear starting wide receiver. They have one clear starting tight end who's average. Their offensive line is old. Their one young offensive lineman just got carted off today, DeJuan Jones.
It was heat. He's okay.
It was just heat. He's okay. Good.
It was heat, yeah.
There's not a lot to hang your hat on right now when it comes to the Browns' offense. I mean, they drafted Quinshon Judkins to be their starting running back. We don't even know if he's going to play this year. They got no. I mean, it's bleak, Aditi, on the offense. No.
I'm struggling to disagree with you. I don't know if I think it's hard to bank on young guys. It's hard to bank on someone making a major step like a Cedric Tillman or the MJ Emerson injury is another piece of bad news.
Yep.
But again, I would say there's time between now and week one. And I don't know that this roster is necessarily entirely where the week one 53 will be pulled for. So there's potentially opportunity to get some added juice in there. Again, I'd say, I'm coming out to practice on Monday. I'll obviously be at the first game. I'm curious to see if there's someone that is distinguishing themselves that perhaps we're not noticing just yet. These are the next few weeks where you have big opportunity. When you say it like that, Adam, though, it's not like we're sitting here and saying, okay, well, there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of players to be super excited about right now, but maybe that's it. Maybe it's the unknown. Maybe. And it was interesting. It was interesting when Jimmy Haslam sort of told everybody to dial it back and say, this isn't just a year waiting for Arch Manning, that his expectation is Arch Manning isn't even available next year. So interesting that he put it that way, that he said that. But I'll come back, I'll come back to the Joe Flacco thing. There are still guys that you want to root for. And I'd say, if you watch this and you get to know Joe a little bit more and you get to know his kids a little bit more, you can't help but pull for somebody like that. And it does make you feel good. There's no, okay, I'm going to hold my nose while I root for this person. Or there's no, well, I'm rooting for laundry, not necessarily a human being. This is definitely one of those, like, I feel good for rooting for both the laundry and the human being. I hope that matters to some people. I do hope that there are still some people out there that care about that piece of it.
I think so, too. I think there are. If you haven't done so already, check out Aditi's Sit Down, since it's 17 minutes sit down and 14 minutes. It's 17 and 14? I don't remember.
It was hot on that field. Adam, in real life,
we
were out there for an hour. We were all drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
I made a catch, but it's not like I played that great.
Hey, I thought you did all right. I thought your throw was solid. You made a nice catch. That was a pop-up. You had to hustle for that one.
He didn't let me bat. I will give you this one, though.
Yeah.
He wasn't batting, but he called a shot. We didn't include this. I was like, so are you going to hit? He's like, are you kidding me? If I hit, and there were these basketball hoops beyond the fence. So this is what was really cool. This is a Little League field that he grew up playing on.
Right.
And it was in the shadow of the high school that he went to. And then there's basketball courts right behind it. And he goes, come on, if I hit, I'm hitting one of those basketball hoops. And I was like, all right, well, let's see it. Let's see it. He took a couple swings and then he rocketed the ball, and it didn't go through the net, but it did basically hit the basketball hoop. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. And those kids, not one of them was impressed.
No,
not even his daughter.
I saw that part. Aditi was very impressed. Even Joe wasn't impressed with himself.
I know.
He wasn't.
Was
the
like,
kids were not, but you were.
I was.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you call your shot and then you actually do it, you should feel proud of yourself, right?
I hear you, but he was not having it. He was not crediting himself at all.
Aditi, when you're here
another reason to root for him.
When you're here next week, you got to stop by the UCSS studios. It's been way too long since we've seen you in person.
I wish I could. I wish the timing of that could work out, Mikey, but we'll figure out. Steve is constantly on me about that. Hopefully there's a way to make that work at some point.
He told me to tell you. So, Steve, we can't both be asking Aditi. I thought I was doing your dirty work for you, but now Aditi's
I think, unfortunately, the timing of the show is the same as the timing of when Kevin Stefanski talks.
He didn't say anything anyway.
Yeah, it's true. He says nothing in all his press conferences. He talks in generic.
Well, maybe if I'm there's something else.
I hope so. Maybe you can get something out of him. The guy that says nothing. All right, Aditi, great job with the interview with Joe Flacco and his family. Everybody check it out if you haven't done so already on YouTube. But where else can you watch it? Twitch? Can you watch it on Twitch?
It's on CBS's YouTube page.
CBS's
so go to
YouTube
CBS's
page.
YouTube page, and then we have tons of video on CBS, Instagram, and TikTok, and they'll keep coming.
There you go.
Awesome job, Aditi.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Aditi.
Bye.
That was
Mike, super chats.
Kinkabwala. We got 4 super chats to wrap up today's show. Yoshi Dose says, full disclosure, I love Shedeur. Am I the only person that has noticed that both Sanders and Gabriel have had their best days with the Browns without Kenny Pickett around? Is it a coincidence? Thoughts? Question mark.
I don't know that it's even true, but I don't think it's.
I don't know if there's any correlation.
Coincidence. I don't know why that would matter.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was out there this morning very, very briefly, but obviously had the show, so I didn't see him throwing today.
Shedeur did throw against the ones for the first time today.
Oh, yeah?
But he did.
Yes.
He was playing with the twos, but throwing against the ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did Flacco with the ones against the defensive twos, and
Yeah.
Gabriel and Sanders with the offensive twos against the defensive ones.
Yeah.
I always think that
rotation today.
when you go out there with the twos, and I did this quite a bit when I was in the league, when I got to run with the twos a little bit, and you go up against the ones, and you make plays. I mean, that the coaches really look at that. So that's one area where if like Shedeur does make some plays going up against the ones, I would actually have a conversation about that. That's kind of meaningful.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So
All right,
that's
there you
positive.
go.
There was in those sessions it was a short Dylan Gabriel pass to Gage Laverdian. I believe I'm pronouncing it right.
One of the all-time greats.
He's the undrafted receiver out of South Carolina who broke like.
He's actually from but he was at Miami of Ohio before he went to South Carolina for 1 year. Covered him. He was a great player. It's oh God, what's his name? You said it wrong, but I can't even think of how to say it, so don't worry about it.
Go ahead.
Well, whatever it was a short Dylan Gabriel pass to him. It was during the live tackling session. He broke like 7 tackles against the ones and scored a touchdown. That was the lone offensive touchdown.
Great, nice job by the defense.
We have two former stud MAC receivers because you got Floria in the the white kid, white receiver, who everyone's gonna love. I'm sure that when he scores touchdowns in the preseason.
All right, next super chat from our guy Eddie, who says, the Guardians' issues with hitting revolve around knowing contact hitters are cheaper, so they focus on developing guys to do that instead of power.
I don't know that I agree with that because everybody's cheap their first 6 years. It's the same price. Well, arbitration's not.
I mean, they traded for Kyle Manzardo. His thing is not contact. His thing is power.
Yeah.
I thought his thing was contact.
He was supposed to be a high average doubles guy, and the average is everybody's average is down.
Yeah.
His average is down, and I'm I'd like to see him play every day. I don't know how he's not.
Next one, Michael Grilly says, I think you guys need to reach out and get new UCSS shirts. Mine is out of date.
We do need new shirts. He's right.
Yeah, that's true. And last but not least, Yoshido says, Coach Stefanski is OG D Podesta. Coach wants it and gets it.
I don't know what that
I don't
means.
understand. Can you say that again?
Coach S, I'm assuming Coach Stefanski,
Okay.
is OG D Podesta. Coach wants it and gets it.
I don't know what that's in reference to.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Appreciate the super chats.
Yeah, man.
All right. No overtime today, right?
No, we have overtime.
I thought Jason said no overtime today.
Wow, I got excited when he said, I'm like, oh, sweet, we don't have overtime?
No, there's overtime today. We will see you guys in about 3
Throw
minutes
me under the bus.
for overtime.
What are we talking about in overtime?
We'll figure it out because now I'm all flustered.
See you at overtime.
Like
on
I
the
have
Ultimate
any say
Cleveland
around
Sports
here.
Show.